You're on camera. Say something.
Last night and night before, there was 3 women walking down the street that way. I saw them. I said, hey, you 3 women, why are y'all walking down the street that way? There's nothing down there. And they flew away. I said, oh, them was some birds.
Toss a coin to your grifter, oh bigot of plenty, bigot of plenty. Toss a coin to your grifter, bigot of plenty, oh bigot of plenty. Toss a coin to your grifter, oh bigot of plenty, bigot of plenty. Toss a coin to your grifter, oh bigot of plenty, bigot of plenty.
You're too late, Ravage. The information's already been destroyed.
Look at the world! Spinning so blind. He cracked the code, wired the grind. Told you what's next, map the design. Late to the game, he's ahead of your time. Eyes wide shut while he saw through the smoke. Y'all laughed it off, but the guy's no joke. Truth hit hard, left the doubters broke. Every call he made is the master stroke. Called it again. Are you listening? He's got the spark, yeah, he's glistening. Future's on lock, man, he's blistering. Told you what's coming, now it's christening. Called it again. Are you missing it? Pinpoint shot, every hit legit. World's in his hand, man, he's twisting it. Bow to the king, he's the infinite. Called it. Yo, rewind the tape. Forecast so clean it escapes the hate. This ain't no luck, this is fate. Create while you hesitate.
Could be Trump. Yeah. Trump. Oh yeah. Trump. 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 Could be Trump. Yeah. Trump. Oh yeah. Trump.
They've been watching the screens all night, reading headlines filled with fright. If you're clicking too fast or you're rolling some dice, you might be up to something not nice. Got your comics, your anime, better hide them all right away. If you're gaming too much or you painting in blue, they think there's something wrong with you. They're writing reports. No. They're watching your ports.
vengeance, hearts ignite. Through the dark we pierce the night. When the sky is breaking, I still hear the call. No fate, no chains can hold me down. I was born to chase the sound of freedom, ringing through the skies. Frozen teardrops raining from my eyes. But I'll stand, I'll rise, I'll never die. With the echoes of tomorrow in my soul. Through the fire I'll take control. Frozen teardrops shining in the light. Every wound, every scar is burning bright. I was made to fight, I was made to fly. Through the storm, through the war, I will survive.
Ladies and gentlemen, over the years, Bounding's brought you a myriad of content, but nothing quite like this. We're proud to present a brand new program about love, honor, glory, sacrifice, and a whole lot of unnecessary explosions. BattleMax champions are ready! BattleMax challengers are ready! Let's go!
Bounding Battle Max! Bounding Battle Max! Bounding Battle Max!
Face every challenge, climb every wall. Catch your breath, but never let it fall. Power and honor light up your way. Legends are born today. Run to the light, fight for the glory. Show them your might, write your own story. Run to the light, fight for the glory. This is the heart of the arena.
Bounding Battle Max! Bounding Battle Max! Bounding Battle Max!
Mama, we must try. The Wendigo Yakuza are here.
We'll be okay. We're not alone.
Where did we park for there?
Cider took it to deliver those flowers.
You all don't stand a chance.
Underneath the moon's cold light, whispers linger in the night. Shadows dance with subtle grace. Secrets hide in every space. Velvet skies and sapphire dreams. Cities pulse, electric beams. Lonely hearts in shadowed bars. Fading tales beneath the stars. We dance in twilight's tender glow, where time moves soft and slow. Eyes meet in a silent song, in the night where we belong.
Well, wouldn't you know it, it's Wednesday again, and we managed to live through another week. Unfortunately. Well, maybe fortunately for you. But either way, I'm still alive, you're still alive, and someone else who's still this side of the sun, whatever. Nerdigans is here.
Hi, Bounding audience, and I don't know if you could hear him, but Zeto is, of course, meowing. I don't know what he wants.
Being a cat. Yep.
He's just being a cat.
Well, it's Wednesday, it's after 8 o'clock. He knows what's up, he knows what's going on.
Well, it's
Just
5
like the
o'clock here,
audience.
but... Right,
Well,
Kitty?
yeah. Right. It's quitting time.
Yeah. Well,
But anyway.
it's 5 o'clock. Yeah, but... Right, Kitty? You ready, Kitty? You ready to help?
RJ McReady's here, and he says, I will not let them go after a good iteration of a superhero. I will stand and fight. Well, you don't have to worry about it. They canceled it. And the Wonder Woman writer is quite perturbed over that. She's going to come get ya. She's going to come find ya. tickle your balls or something. Who knows?
Mhm.
Leslie Tarkin says, "Hail to all you lovely people." Well, hail to you too. Well, you see, I asked Grok to do DEI Wonder Woman, and Grok did what he did. I added the cheeseburger though, just for effect. So
Ah,
the RJ Reddy says it's no longer mainstream; it's part of the legacy media. That's right. We have Jason Schreier out here saying that only a handful of people have full-time jobs in gaming journalism right now. We also have the lovely Sherry saying hello. Well, hello, Sherry. Welcome aboard. And also in the chat, we have editor-in-chief of Bounding into Comics, Spencer, here with Boba, talking about Mecha Breaker, by the way, Mecha Breaker out of China. I'm not happy about that, but I am happy that it briefly dethroned Marvel Rivals, and it gives me hope for the giant robot genre, that we might actually get a serious take on it as opposed to whatever Pacific Rim was.
I know you're
I don't
happy
know.
about it too, Kitty.
I don't know. I like the giant robots, as you can see. We've got Gundam up here in front, but the Pacific Rim Jaegers were just they were like too, I don't know, up the ass of what a giant robot is. They were just really oh, it's got all these diesel engines in it, and what? What is it? Oh, it's all these muscle fibers are what make the diesel and engines, and they move, and the dun, 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 and the drifting, and the screw you. Give me a teenager in a cockpit with a couple of joysticks, and somehow he can magically do backflips in an 18-foot tall robot. So I don't know how they do it. It's the Japanese kids. Somehow, all of them are like, yeah, you just 2 joysticks and a couple of pedals. You could do kung fu in midair in a giant robot. I don't know. Somehow, like in Japan, it makes perfect sense to them that 2 joysticks, 2 pedals, and a bunch of screens will allow you to do jujitsu in a giant robot.
Exactly.
It's crazy. But we do have a lot to cover tonight. We have not just the anime news, but we also have, not just the gaming news. We also have anime news. Dragon Ball Daima will be ending right around the anniversary of, the same day as
Yeah,
Akira
just going
Toriyama's
into the
passing.
day. Yeah, it'll be the 1-year anniversary of Akira Toriyama's passing. It's like it was planned. Oh, Kitty, stop it. Say hi,
Yeah,
chat. Say hi to the
nerd.
people.
We have Zeno over there hanging out, and YouTube me says Nerdigan the Blade in the house. Okay, know something I don't know. And we have Eternal Cote here as well, or Cote? Cote. I think it's Cote. What's up? I'm just living La Vida Loca. And so we do have Dude Man says here, he's got a good statement here. He says, and yet too many game journalists still have jobs. No disrespect to actual game journalists, aka YouTubers. Well, it's again like there's people out there that are just kind of like stacking it on. You know what I'm talking about? They just see something and they run with it. There's plenty of that out there. We've got Goonergate, which was just running headlong into anything that was half dressed, right? And that was automatically turbo porn. Then come to find out they're falling all over themselves over Mecha Breaker, which marketed itself over big butt mecha pilots. So
yeah, so basically they're grifters and they're just full of crap.
Exactly. And it's not different among the other places like PC Gamer, The Gamer, and these other gaming outlets like IGN. There's no principle to it. This was a tough thing that we ran into with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Well,
we wanted to make sure.
Let's be real. This is what Gamergate 2 was about, was gaming ethics. And the people that like started the whole thing with Goonergate is like, yeah, this is the thing that Gamergate was fighting against, is liars and hypocrites. And yet the same people infiltrated the anti-woke movement, the Gamergate movement. And instead, they accuse me, who calls this out, of being like, of trying to destroy the anti-woke movement. And I'm like, dude, I don't care. First of all, I don't care about the anti-woke movement. I'm just fighting censorship out here in the Twitters. Like, you should be stupid. You need to stop doing your fuckery and actually, if you say you're the best thing in news, report the news and not lie, and not be bitter that you got called out by a game dev.
Careful now, not lie. I mean, that's impossible for those guys.
Well, they said that they are not liars.
Right. But that's what I mean about the whole Kingdom Come Deliverance thing is that we didn't want to go out there and run with things that, yes, 2 plus 2 equals 4 on the surface, but when you understand what was going on with who that character was listed as, however, then we find out that the game did confirm it again that this is a character who's not 18. So it is a huge hole to deal with, and that's where we found ourselves is that there wasn't Dan Vavra coming out and making a direct statement. He just says there's no kids in the game. It's like, thanks, Dan. Even though at the time 15 was considered a man. So it's like, what are you doing, Dan? Just say there's no underage sex in the game. It's super easy to just say there's no underage sex in the game because what do you know? If there isn't any, there isn't any, Dan. But guess what we haven't heard out of Dan? And it really annoys me that he's happy to dance around it. Like, woohoo, I don't know. There's no kids, but this guy says he's 15 over here. And it's like, that's why we didn't run into it like they did.
You know, the thing that's funny about the whole thing is that like they're banging chicks in both games. You don't hear a peep from them, but it's only when there's an optional gay scene that these people are losing their damn mind.
Right. The degeneracy level. Right. The degeneracy level isn't consistent.
Yeah, and from what everyone has told me that has played the game, it's not woke at all. Like they have only like run across the optional game scene like maybe once or twice. And other than that, and they were able to like bypass it and be like, no, I'm not gonna do it. Other than that, it's not woke. Like there's no DEI, no woke crap, and the people that are saying that it's woke are full of shit and have never played the game. And they've already admitted they've never played the game, and they didn't even play the first game either. So yeah, the people that are like going all nuts about this heresy and all that shit, they are just lying. And in some cases, some people are being salty that they got called out by Daniel Vavra and blasted by them, which was pretty goddamn hilarious. I'm not gonna lie. And
yeah, it's almost as bad as when Beardson gets a dunk on you.
Yeah. But it's like, dude, you gotta if you're a journalist, you gotta investigate these things. Otherwise, you're gonna be like Alyssa Mercante, or you're gonna be like the people at PC, the salty people at Eurogamer or IGN that get all pissy when you don't send them a review copy.
Yeah, or 2 weeks later, they decide the price of your positive review is run out, and now they're gonna like Dragon Age you. You notice that? Yeah. All of a sudden, Dragon Age wasn't the game of the year anymore. Ooh, there's probably Dragon Age all of a sudden. 2 weeks after it launches. Great. Thanks, guys. Big help. But you know what's a big help? Is these anniversaries that are going on right now and being reminded of them because along with Pokemon and along with what we talked about with Daima, we also have the anniversary of City Hunter. This is a long time ago. The City Hunter's been around for 40 years. That's how long City Hunter has been around. Whoops, can't play the audio. So City Hunter is one of those Japan is changing very quickly. The Japanese miracle is kind of causing a rapid urbanization, a rapid kind of corporatization of the Japanese culture. This is around the time that we started seeing the cyberpunk genre start to rise up and kind of stories about how people were being lost in their careers and in their city. And City Hunter was kind of positioned sort of in the middle of the sci-fi genre and in the slice of life genre. And it took the inspiration from the American, like gumshoe detective of the 80s, kind of like Columbo, kind of like, there was another movie guy that was constantly solving mysteries in the 80s. I just forget who he was.
There was MacGyver, but that's a whole different story.
Yeah, City Hunter wasn't so much MacGyver as he was like 007, but inside the city without the gadgets.
Oh my God, there's Miami Vice.
That's right. City Hunter was like Miami Vice in Tokyo. That's right. It's a very good example. Hard time with the women, hard time with like everything other than solving crimes. Yeah. And very, very fun anime. It had its own live action adaptation in the early 90s, and I believe in 2000 as well.
Yeah, they're doing another one, I believe, too, aren't they?
Hopefully.
I think there's another live action City Hunter, I think, or either a live action or an anime in the works.
Yep. And then we also had the reveal of Pokemon Day. Today is Pokemon Day as well.
It's the anniversary of the 29-year anniversary of when Red and Green version came out in Japan.
Yep. So there you go.
The studio that made this actually is the same studio that made Your Name, if I remember correctly.
Oh. Well,
That
so
whole
that explains
animation
why
is
the
so
human
beautiful.
faces. Yeah, that's why the human faces are so much more movie and roundy than they usually are in a Pokemon story.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, someone actually spotted a shiny in this trailer too. See if you can find it. But yeah, it's so nice and fluid. Look how gorgeous the scenery is too. It's just beautiful.
well, we were talking before this that the shinies have basically become their own side evolution now. They're not like a gimmick anymore. They're like a thing that exists now. So, like
Yeah,
the
they
mega
are.
evolutions. So, like it or not, the shinies are like, every now and then I wonder if like, are they gonna do Missingno? Are they gonna do
I
Missingno
want
this
to see
time?
Missing No. I really want it to become canon. I mean, we got Super
Right?
Saiyan 4 as canon, so why not have Missing No as canon?
Time's running out. People that remember what the hell Missingno is are gonna be like too old to care about this soon. Well, we hope. We hope they'll be too old to care about it.
Nah,
But,
we're never gonna stop. We're never gonna be old
oh no,
enough.
I was implying they'd be dead, not
Oh,
not too old. I sorry. I
well, I mean, Daima was made for the GT generation, so it's like maybe Missing No will be made for the original generation or something. For
like
like,
that would be a really neat Pokemon story where you could use all those weird machine Pokemon in it and how they're
yeah,
all affected by Missingno because it's literally a glitch in reality.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
that'd
would
be
be sick.
really
Especially
neat.
since you got like you got Porygon 1 and 2, and you also got like
Pokemon, the hidden god, you know?
yes,
And
you
that
would
that
be
would have
in
been
lavender
great, you
time
know?
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be
A
in
fun
lavender
little
time.
you find an island out there where all the machine Pokemon are acting really weird, and
Oh
they,
yeah, and you
they
got
gotta
the
solve it why. Yeah.
well, you got the electric Pokemon. Oh my God, what's his name? You know the one I'm talking about, the one that goes into like all the different machines and stuff like that. You could have that interact with Missing No.
Yep. Yep.
Rotom, that's it. It's Rotom. You have Rotom that can interact with Missing No.
It possesses it, yep. He has one that looked like a Pokédex, right?
That's the one that takes over the Pokédex in
Oh, right.
Sun and Moon. And I
That's
fucking hate Rotom Dex. I hate that stupid thing so much.
well, again, we had like a lot of expansion in the Pokemon lore, and this again is celebrating that, which it's not a bad idea. And honestly, I think that we're entering a time when this is going to be much more uh family-rific than it ever has been because you got what 3 generations now that are Pokemon nuts.
Yeah. And it's crazy because like we have the whole remember back when we Pokemon first started coming out, like everything with the cards was going wild, and now we're seeing it kind of happening again.
Hmm.
Now too. I think it's just wild that we're seeing like a
It
resurgence.
happens like
Like,
every 10 years. It's around then when the kids get old enough to start collecting it, you know?
yeah, it's so weird that we're seeing it happen again with the Pokemon cards. I remember back when Pokemon first came out and they had the what was it? It was the talking there was the talking Mew and talking Pikachu plushies, and it was the Toys R Us. And I remember it was so hard to get those. And there was like a this was on Black Friday too at Toys R Us, and there was just like a rush to get those things. And
Yeah.
it was like it was not just those either. It was like all the Pokemon toys. It was the games, everything. It like everyone was like fighting to get them at Toys R Us on Black Friday.
And this will be another thing that's like demonstrative of the fandom because this will be another like it's going to be like another I want to say it's going to be another um push into the family genre end of this really because you really want to see more mom, dad, Junior, and Sally into this, and you just want to see the adults into it.
Well,
Like I
that's
tell
what
this
Daima
story.
was made for. Toriyama made Daima so for the families to watch together, for like the
Mhm.
people our age and to watch with their kids. And I think that's what Pokemon should be do. I think that's what Pokemon's trying to do, but I
Well,
don't
you
know
don't
if
have to
they're
try hard. It's
they don't
never
really have.
risen to like danger zone before.
It's not like
So
Pokemon Adventures manga, but I'm
right.
worried about Pokemon Adventures manga because um Scarlet and Violet is it's just I should say ever since like Sword and Shield, it's hasn't been the same. It doesn't have that same like pizzazz that like Pokemon Adventures had from the start to like what was it? I'd say Sun and no, maybe Sun and Moon was when it like was like the final like hurrah of Pokemon Adventures
Mhm.
because Sword and Shield it was like it was that's when it kind of declined a little bit, and then Scarlet and Violet's like a huge what the hell? Like the designs decline. You don't have any more. It's like in the games where you don't have the cute designs anymore. The Pokemon are weird, and the story is just it's not as good. I don't know what's going on over there, but yeah, it's definitely affecting the manga now too. It's just not as dark and like it's not as interesting as it used to be. So it's really disheartening.
I think largely the goal there, though, is that they're trying to once again try to make it more accessible. Because again, you got to remember the Japanese market has like very much shrunk down in the
Yeah.
past 5 years. Just 5 years, not the past 10. Just the past since 2020, since COVID. Okay, not that COVID helped it, but you know what I mean. It's really funneled down here, and that's I noticed it in Super Sentai the other day as I was watching them do this anniversary thing and how careful they are not to make you think about the original series, only to remind you that it existed. They're not trying to make you think about Super Sentai from 40 years ago. They're trying to get you just to recognize that that happened and, oh, it's over with. We're moving on. And that I get what they're trying to do is they're trying to say, "Hey, you, Mr. Adult, you've been here the whole time. We really appreciate you spending your money here and your time. You're cool. We need to make sure that your kid has some footing in this." And so that's what this really feels like. And again, that there's a new Pokemon coming out here for the Switch, right? That's what that was part of
Yeah.
the leaks. Yeah. And
Yeah, that was
again,
part of
like
the leak.
that one definitely had like we were talking about how the games were working. They had set up the mini games in it, and Safari Zone was going to work differently for the licensing they were talking about. And that really relies more on giving kids a footing in this current franchise. It's where the MCU has fallen off so hard. Is there's just no like where do you get kids in on this? It's been around for 15 years. Take the MCU for an example. Where do you get kids in on the MCU now? You got Doomsday coming up with all these old guys in it. You know, where do you put a 12-year-old in this? He hasn't been alive as long as Robert Downey Jr. has been Iron Man. So what are you gonna he grew up with it probably. That was a daycare for him, you know, seeing Iron Man in the desert there. So like it's what do you do with them? And so this is what they're doing. This is very smart. They're stepping back. They're saying, "Hey, you've been here the whole time. Here's some things you remember, but here's also the shiny Pokemon that your kids have never known a time in Pokemon without these. Here's the mega evolutions where your kids have never known a time without these." And it's really smart, honestly. It gives these kids like, "Oh, this is where I came into the fandom. My dad was over here with the original 150 and then Lugia showed up, you know?"
Yeah.
That was cool, you know? Now it's crazy. They're just like, "Here's the 10 billionth Pokemon." Like, cool. Thanks. Appreciate it. But we do have another anniversary to celebrate here. Today is the 39th year anniversary of the original Dragon Ball anime's very first Japanese broadcast. This is when little Goku got started on his adventure of collecting the Dragon Balls after meeting a blue-haired genius on a motorcycle in the middle of the forest.
I love Dragon Ball. It's just sad that so many Westerners hate Dragon Ball or have never watched the original Dragon Ball and just watch Z. And we were lucky to grow up with Toonami that had both Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z.
And I think they did it smart because the American audience would have never have given Dragon Ball Z a chance if they had gotten introduced to Dragon Ball. A little bit of feedback, Nerdigan. Sorry. A little bit of feedback on your mic. I don't know what's causing it. It's fine. It's just I just heard it there. But what it is that Dragon Ball is very innocent. And anime at the time was not being presented as innocent. Like you had Gundam Wing, which was like, "Hey, 14-year-old, here's how you overthrow a global aristocracy with invincible giant robots. Here we go." And that was they also taught you how to make bombs, by the way.
Yeah.
Did you remember that in Gundam Wing? They taught you how to make bombs.
Yeah, I
They taught
remember
you how to
that.
make bombs. Whoops. But yeah, don't tell the TSA. Anyway, Dragon Ball was much more like we're doing Journey to the West, but we're getting a little more Japanesey about it. And then Dragon Ball Z, of course, was much more violent, much more direct in its narratives. Whereas Dragon Ball was like, it's a grand adventure, and occasionally the Red Ribbon Army gets in the way. Whereas, like, Goku's got to beat the ass off of this motherfucker, or the planet's gonna die today on Dragon Ball Z. It's very different atmosphere.
Yeah.
I'm really glad they introduced the high action version, and they were like, hey, now that you know Goku the badass, meet Goku the idiot. And that was fun. That was fun. You know, it was fun to have a Dragon Ball that wasn't like constantly threatening you with the end of the world. It was just like Goku's gonna go off here, and maybe there's an adversary, maybe there's a neat little challenge where he's got to be on a balance beam for a while. That was fun.
Dragon Ball was so innocent, and it's so fun and funny, and you had the slaps,
Yes.
and like you grew if like back in our day, we had like the slapstick and stuff like that with like Looney Tunes and stuff like that. So like the stuff in Dragon Ball like made sense to us because we were used to seeing that kind of stuff on a regular basis with Western cartoons.
Yep. Well, and RJ McReady here, he says, funny, the beginnings of it all. It's like, yeah, it's true. It's everything that we understand to be very badass coming out of Japan had a very, very smooth soap bar kind of version of it that came out first that was very like safe. And then they got permission to like experiment with it.
Like
this is what happened.
Very safe. Yeah, it was. We still, if I remember correctly, even the Toonami version still had a lot of the perverted jokes that were.
Like they couldn't cut out Goku slapping Bulma on the pelvis because it's a point of reference of how Goku understands her, and he references it later on. So there's whole like you got to go through future episodes and cut that little voice line out everywhere in it in order to make sure that nobody goes back and tries to think like, what is Goku talking about? How does he know that Bulma's a girl? What does that mean? Now you have to leave that in there. So what they compromised on is they drew her panties on to make sure that he wasn't like looking directly at her lady parts or girl parts at that time. And so that was the compromise. And even back then, that was okay. Because if you remember, Dennis the Menace had a bunch of jokes about boys learning about what girls are. You had Spaceman Spiff. What was that one? That's Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah.
You had Calvin and Hobbes having the whole what are girls conversation kind of stuff in there occasionally, not a direct conversation. So this was an okay thing. Whereas in Japan, it was like Goku's just looking at a little girl's body parts, Kid Goku's exploring Kid Bulma. And that was okay because their culture's different. But the other one was when she flashed Roshi and he had that big expression and he was always.
I don't think we saw her. We didn't see her. I don't remember if we saw her ass or not. Or
no,
like they just cut the shot at the time.
No, they moved her sweatshirt down. They froze the frame and they moved her sweat. It's moving. It's panning out in the Japanese version where you see her backside. In the American version, it's freeze framed, and he's bleeding in the background. It's just like repeating the freeze frame back and forth. Okay. I remember it distinctly because in the manga, in the Shonen Jump manga, you saw her backside.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I know in the Japanese version, you definitely saw her ass, but yeah, I couldn't remember for sure because I knew the scene was there. I just couldn't remember. But yeah, like most of the stuff that people want to complain about with Dragon Ball, it's there. It is definitely there. Chi-Chi's in her like little skimpy outfit and everything. Like they didn't censor that. Like today, they would totally censor that. If it
right, and so
today.
We have Eternal Kote here and says, no offense, Daima seems like it's for kids. I'm a grown-ass dude. I ain't trying to watch little kid cartoons. Well, this is what we're talking about, is that Toriyama, like, really was here for all of it. Daima is his, like, he put his hand right into the heart of it. They told us he was there for every step of the way of it. He wasn't just consulting. He was there to, like, that goes there, that color.
Story and everything.
Exactly. Yeah, I think he chose the voice actors for the demons, right?
Yeah,
he
I
was
think
yeah,
he chose I think if I remember correctly, he chose the voice actors for because they did a full cast change too for everyone except
yeah,
for Nozawa. I think he chose everybody too.
yeah.
But
And
yeah, the
so
point was for this was to make sure that people, mine insiders age, because we grew up with GT, could watch this with their kids. And
it's
what
just yeah.
to me what this is, what Daima is, it is because it is very GT-esque in a way,
Mhm.
is that it is like the first part of GT where they went to go collect the Black Star Dragon Balls. But I think Toriyama did this, executed it a little bit better. Well, a lot better because GT like dragged on with the Black Star Dragon Ball arc. It could have been, I think it could have been just a little bit better with exploring the demon realm, and I think they could have met up with Vegeta and them like a little bit faster, considering how many episodes there are.
You know how Toriyama is in his pacing.
Yeah,
You know how he is, even with an editor breathing down his neck. You know how he is with his pacing.
but
But
yeah,
what I
but
want to
like other than that, like I mean, like we have a great Goma's a great villain. I like him a lot. I
oh, he'll
like
be coming back.
Rinsu.
His design's simple enough. He's not gonna get selled.
No, he's not getting sold at all. I love the Tamagamis are great. Like I like
Oh,
the
wait,
references.
Nerdigans, we need to explain that. Okay, so if you don't know, there may be some viewers out there that don't know. If you remember the villain Cell, the villain that Gohan, the child of Goku, defeated using the famous Kamehameha wave, the
Father son
father-son Kamehameha
duo.
wave. Yeah, and so we had that villain was villain designed with different spots all over his carapace because he was kind of insect
He was
based.
a cicada inspired.
Right, yeah. Well, technically Hunter X Hunter villain inspired, but yeah, cicada inspired.
No, well, he
But
came out. Cell was before Hunter x Hunter, so because Hunter x Hunter came out in 1999, so it was vice versa technically.
really, I thought that the villain in Hunter x Hunter that's
Now
basically Cell was
Hunter x Hunter came out way after Dragon Ball.
no, 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 no. Way after well, anyway. So the design's too complex to just do over and over again. No manga artist wants to draw this and nobody wants to reanimate it. You got a very, very special instance with the Dragon Ball Superheroes movie where Gohan got to face off against Cell because that's the only villain he's allowed to KO. I really hate that. It's like they just walled off. They said Goku can't defeat him. Only Gohan can defeat Cell in whatever iteration Cell comes back as. And it's very annoying. It's very annoying. But we do have Dude Man here, and he explains kind of if you were a kid that had like a Sun Coast in your area or went to a convention and got to see anime from abroad brought over here before it was on Toonami, for instance, you had the Dude Man experience. But he says he lived in Japan for 4 years from age 6 to 10. He says he loved watching Dragon Ball and Power Rangers when he lived there. It was so awesome to see them come stateside a couple of years after moving back. Well, they knew you were coming back with it. They knew you liked it, so they brought it over for you. It's pretty simple like that. Here's a neat fact you might not know, and you can check it out on Google. Stan Lee brought over Sun Vulcan, which at the time was late 70s, early, no, it may have been mid 80s, Super Sentai, a 3-man Super Sentai. And he brought that over, had that just kind of dubbed over like the Godzilla movies. It played on 3 TV stations in the San Diego area, and that was it. But he's the father of Power Rangers over here. The woman he was working with originally on the Fox animated things that they were over in Japan to work on, the Spider-Man Tokusatsu as well. She would go on to be president of the Fox Kids, lineup there. And she met with Hayam Saban. And as soon as she saw the Power Rangers offering, she greenlit it, remembering that Stan Lee had fallen in love with it after seeing just one single episode of Sun Vulcan on a hotel television in Japan.
That's so awesome.
It's really great. And it just shows you like Stan's immediate recognition of heroism. That was one of the most unique things about Stan is as kind of domineering as he was and in the corporate world. Stan had a taste for what he took a stripper. He took a stripper and turned her into a hero.
Like
He just
Stan
had a
was
distinct
really had
idea
a
of it.
vision for heroism. He knew.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
There's a
knew what
formula.
it was.
Yep, he had those timeless truths that I remember, and Marvel's done everything they can to defile those. By the way,
Really
but,
sad.
well, speaking of defiling things, we have Matt Walsh reminding us that Dragon Ball is the most evil thing under the sun. But now Spencer brings up a big thing about this because this is something that was very early on in Dragon Ball and repeated a couple of times. But they reference this time with Goku is that when Bulma says, "Let Goku fight, or I won't take a bath with you again," Vegeta, and then Vegeta, of course, surrenders and comes and lands next to her. Everyone reacts as sort of like, "Oh, that's a very sexual thing," but they don't remember how and Goku looks shocked, but he remembers that bath time was bad, and that's the Saiyans kind of have the same reaction to water that cats do. So it's more of like a PTSD calming of the what is that? What's that called? Safety animal? Is that what they're called? What emotional support? Right.
Yeah.
Bulma's an emotional support bath buddy. So in order to get Vegeta to get all unstankified, she's got to climb into that Saiyan soup too. So, again, like people, like you said, people respond with, "Oh my," but it's more of like, I have to get my husband to bathe. He smells like a whole gym. He smells like the whole gym.
But let's be real, Vegeta is probably doing some other things in that bath too.
Yeah, you want to see Vegeta and Goku fight Black
I do
Frieza,
too.
and yeah, again, like we're getting to the point now where we're back to the whole power creep problem, and like we were talking last week, Nerdigans. I hope we finally cap it off here. Where
Well, like
we get
I said, if we don't see Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, which I would not be surprised if we don't, then I want Vegeta's version of Super Saiyan 4 to be like a complete Ultra Ego Vegeta.
like a purple fur, yeah,
Yeah, with
right.
purple fur instead, or like even or it could be even it can't be red because that's Super Saiyan God. But
Right,
like
it should be purple because that's the
that's
destruction
like
color.
that's Beerus related.
Well, no, when Topo came into his god power, destruction
yeah,
power,
but
remember?
he had purple aura too, right?
Right, and so
Yeah,
that would
so
make
that was
sense if
probably
Vegeta's fur. It would make sense if Vegeta's fur took on that color because that's the expression of the power. The way that
Yeah, and
Goku's
he'd have the
aura was
purple.
red
Yeah,
with the red
yeah,
fur.
yeah. He'd have the purple fur. Kind of like I would love to see it go down to the wrist, unlike with Goku, it's like down
Isn't
to.
it weird? That's weird. Why did he do that? I
Why
feel like
did
the
Toriyama
figure,
do that?
like
I
it's
don't
made for an
know.
action figure, right? Like that part's deliberately carved out because it's supposed to swivel around to a regular sized fist or something. And this so
I thought it
weird.
was weird, but like with Vegeta, because when I said it last week when I saw Ultra Ego Vegeta, I'm like that because obviously it's before Super Saiyan 3 showed up here. Vegeta showed up here. I was like, that's got to be Vegeta Super Saiyan 3, and like and that's like an imperfect Ultra Ego. When we get to a perfect Ultra Ego, that would be Vegeta Super Saiyan 4. That's what I would like to see from the manga. But yeah.
Well, we got
But yeah,
Spencer here that tops off the conversation about this is that Goku remembers time was bad, the bath time was bad because in Dragon Ball, Bulma tried to get him to take a bath and it was a whole struggle and he hated it. And it reminded me that you're right. We never saw a single bath, a single bathtub, a single like any recognition of bath time on Planet Vegeta. Did you ever notice that? The only time the Saiyans are getting wet is when they're in uh the rejuvenation chamber.
yeah.
And
That's their equivalent of bath time, I guess.
if you're wondering what we're talking about, this is from Wikipedia on the
That's
Ultra
what
Ego Vegeta
yeah.
look. And so
There's like you see there's like no eyebrows and stuff like that, and it kind of gives like that Super Saiyan 3 kind of vibe in the face. That's why I
without
was
the
like, yeah.
eyebrows, yeah.
That's why I was like, yeah, that kind of gives like a Super Saiyan 3
It's
kind of vibe.
funny. It's funny because Beerus doesn't have eyebrows, Topo does, and then Vegeta loses his eyebrows. So it's kind of inconsistent over being if you're a god of destruction, if you get to keep your eyebrows or not. Did anybody else have them? I don't remember. The other gods of destruction are just sort of random. Like they were just like, oh, one's gonna be a clown. Why? I don't know. He's just gonna be a clown. And what was funny what was even funnier is that the American side, Funimation was just like, let's make him black. What? What? And he's just inexplicably street. That's the other thing, is that like Beerus is just like all fighting and stuff like that. And this other guy, you just feel like he's going to walk into a 10-10-220 commercial any minute and tell you how you can save money on your next phone call. You know, the clown guy is just so out of place. Every time he talks, I'm like, this is the guy where Jiren came from. This is the guy. Amazing. But we have a lot of Dragon Ball stuff to get through.
Well, do we want to show the Daima clip real fast and then get into it? Because God, that
well, I'd like to get Spencer in here to do it.
Oh
so
yeah,
I
we
this
should
would
get
be
Spencer for that. Okay, we'll wait for Spencer for that.
because you two have been following Daima. I've just been a filthy casual over
we'll
here.
Wait for Spencer for Daima, because man, Daima is amazing right now. If you weren't watching Daima, we'll make you a believer. Or if you were hesitant about Daima, we'll make you a believer in Daima. But yeah, we got like there was a podcast interview with hold on, let me make sure I have this up. With the 3 Dragon Ball editors, Kazuhiko Torishima, Yu Kondo, and Fuyuto Takeda. And God, we got so much lore. Like, for example, we got confirmation that Toriyama wanted to end Dragon Ball with the Cell Saga. Like, this is something that fans were speculating forever, but we got official confirmation that during the final phase of the Cell Saga, Toriyama repeatedly expressed his intention to end Dragon Ball with that narrative arc. And initially, those who heard him did not fully understand his will, and thinking that even if the Cell Saga concluded, the series could continue in another way. However, strong pressure came from the editorial team for the story to go on, pushing Toriyama to continue further. And despite this, Takeda always sided with the author, trying to find ways to ease his workload and make the continuation of the series less burdensome. And in the end, both Toriyama and Takeda insisted that the story should definitively conclude with the end of the Majin Buu saga, out of respect for Toriyama and his desire to bring the series to a close.
So, the biggest problem with all this is that clearly, since the beginning, Gohan was supposed to take over from Goku. We saw this in the Saiyan saga when Gohan like nearly KO'd Raditz with a single headbutt after Goku and Piccolo got like mopped the floor by him. You know, it took Goku sacrificing his life to deal with Raditz, and Gohan like halved his health bar with a single headbutt, you know? And then we had Gohan explode again and take out not just second form Frieza, but also final form Frieza. Just completely steamrolled him. That was 1 million on the Scouter, by the way. That was power level 1 million back when we cared about that. And Gohan Masingo Hod his ass like 2 layers of crust into the Namekian surface, you know? And that so it's clear that Gohan was always supposed to take over from Goku. And that's what really bothered me about what happened with the Cell Saga, is that Goku A wasn't allowed to retire the hero that he deserved to be, and Gohan got cucked. He got turned into a nerd. And that annoyed me. I didn't want him to go on to like a super chat or anything, but like now he's just like Dr. Gohan. And when they need like a guy to go ape shit on Cell, they call him up. And other than that, he's just there to say, "Wow, Dad, you're so strong." And it's like, you're killing me.
I mean, Gohan wanted to be well, I know you could make the argument that Chi-Chi kind of forced it on him a little bit, but Gohan did like he was kind of set up to be a scholar, and only fought because he had to.
Well, like I said, is that what happened is that the evolution of the character was helped along, was carried on when it wasn't supposed to happen. Gohan was supposed to go out as like a badass with a broken arm, you know, father son Kamehamehaing some weird giant bug into the nether realm. You know, that was supposed to be the end of like his adventure. The fact that he kept going on destroyed him. Now, Saiyaman's fun, don't get me wrong, but Saiyaman completely undermines Gohan, the guy that had one arm taking Cell out. It completely undermines that character. Him being weak to Videl, having a weaker personality than Videl, completely undermines that badass that took out Cell. Like it's like it's what happened with Trunks in GT. You got this really cool character that like sliced Frieza in half, and then because you fixed the timeline, now he's got little nibbly knobbly knees and can't stand up for himself anymore. It's like you didn't fix the problem. Clearly, we need to go back and kill his parents and have the androids take over the world. Even when Goku Black showed up, he turned into a badass again, demonstrating that unless the world ends, Trunks is just going to have a really boring life.
Well, I mean, he is Saiyaman again. Well, he is a Saiyaman.
Saiyaman Jr., technically.
Well, Saiyaman X1. But
right?
It's just, I still think it's funny how it happened that he became the thing that he was made fun of.
Well, yeah, and you got Ghost. You got Ghost. You're talking about another problem with Gohan is they make Gohan constantly have the same arc. He stops training, have a normal life, then he must train to protect the Earth again. So it just kind of draws out the story more as we have to watch Gohan go and do another side quest to gain another side power to keep up with his father. And you'll note that in the time it took Goku to get to the power level he's getting his ass kicked, that they need Gohan's help, it's only 2 chapters and Gohan's caught back up with him again. And it's like, clearly this kid's supposed to take over.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Buu Saga gave us Vegito, but I have to ask you, what did we really gain from that? The fusion Saiyans are neat and all, but they're temporary. We only got one manga that loosely explores what it would be like if they were actually stuck with the Potara earrings. The Potara earrings are the same thing as the dance now. It doesn't matter. They'll just break off. They're just, do you feel like being Vegito this week, Vegeta? Or do you want to be Gogeta today? What are we going to do? That's all it is now. It's like, it's a fashion choice. Do you feel like being Vegito today? Do you think Bulma would like that? Are we going to give Chi-Chi a run with Gogeta? It's there's only one manga that explored that, by the way. That came out. And was
it Super? I know. I was thinking Super Dragon Ball Heroes did it, but I could be wrong.
As far as I know, it was way back when this first happened. It wasn't new. It was way back when this first happened. It was like a alternate future one. It was alternate future or something. But they had a daughter.
Oh God, who was it?
What happened is that Chi-Chi was like, no, you can have him. Like Vegito couldn't unfuse because the rules of Potara stuck. They didn't break apart because of the neat little Buu digestive thing. So, because that held, it doesn't matter now. But so Chi-Chi said, that's okay. You can have him. Goku's never home anyway. Having these two around in one body would be horrible. So just go ahead. And so Bulma ended up with the two of them fused as Vegito. And then they had Bra, as we know her. And Bra was several degrees more powerful than Goten and Trunks and things like that, because she started off as the child of a Super Saiyan 3 fused Saiyan. So like her DNA was like above pure blood or whatever they justified it as. And so that kind of like explained where we were at with these power levels, why Pan was so much less effective than Gohan was at the same age, because of the diluted bloodline. And it's a very interesting concept that was woven in there to kind of explain it, but it further extrapolates kind of the problem is that you have this, the Saiyan family tree is wild. That's what I'm getting at, is that like, when you break down to like, there's only 5 Saiyans left, only 5 full-blooded Saiyans left. Well, a lot of good that did. Much like there's only one last Kryptonian left, that changed very quickly. But, see, this is what I'm saying, is that like Gohan got the shaft, Trunks got the shaft, and so did Goten. Because unless you're Vegeta or Goku, you're just there to observe how powerful they've become. They gave us orange high C flavored Piccolo. That's what I call him, is high C Piccolo. And that's what he looks like. He just looks like he tastes like orange. Like if you squeezed him, it'd be a bunch of orange juice would come out of him. And I always get that taste in my mouth when I look at him too. I get that chalky orange taste in my mouth.
Well, I mean, Toriyama, it does say here that let's see, that during the Boo saga, though, that Toriyama was asked if he truly enjoyed designing the new characters for the Boo arc, to which he replied, and this does make sense if you think about it, considering the original Dragon Ball, is that he actually preferred creating rounder, cuter figures with a humorous touch. And this reflection led to the idea of creating a villain with those characteristics, Majin Buu. And actually, it does explain Goma as well, because he was,
Yep.
round and cute before he transformed.
He still
And the Buu,
is.
well, he's not round and cute no more.
Well, yeah, no, yeah, he is. Look at it. Look at his body type. Jiren is not muscular. Jiren is a bunch of balloons. There's no hard shape to Jiren's body, and that's
I'm
all
not talking
Goma
about
took
Goma
over.
and Daima, but yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. Is Goma's just wearing? He just like plopped Goma's head on top of Jiren's body. There's no muscle definition to Goma. He's just an inflated balloon, you know. Whereas Goku has all those hard lines and the bicep lines and stuff. Jiren didn't even have those. He just looked like, so he just went whew, and got all the muscles like a Looney Tunes character, you know.
But then there's this, though, that got interesting. As the Boo saga took shape, Torishima kept insisting that the series should have ended earlier. And however, despite this, Toriyama seemed to be having a lot of fun working on it. And this was particularly evident in the absurd gags reminiscent of early Toriyama, such as Gotenks Ghost Kamikaze Attack, which left the editor both astonished and perplexed. I think it left a lot of people that way, to be honest. But it was clear that that Toriyama was enjoying this final part because he knew the story was coming to an end. And then he said this about the Boo arc, which I think was interesting, is that like towards the end of the Cell arc, Toriyama had probably intended to conclude Dragon Ball within a few weeks, perhaps 3 or 4. And in the end, however, the series continued for another 2.5 years. And he might have thought of wrapping everything up in 6 months, but the story ended up lasting much longer than expected, kind of like with Dragon Ball Super. And rather than convincing him to continue, the editors focused on finding ways to make the work more enjoyable for him. Their approach was more along the lines of, let's try adding something fun for this arc so he can enjoy it a bit. And a key example of this was Mr. Satan. And the idea of making him central and exaggerating his stupidity was introduced specifically to add a comedic element that could lighten the tone. And ironically, in the end, he was the one who saved the world. And we do see, like in Daima, we see the comedic stuff a lot, like with the Glorio joke. And I think in Super, we do see the comedic stuff a lot too. In the Super manga, we definitely see it as well.
Well,
So
this is
I
one
think,
of the things.
yeah,
This is one of the things right here is that we're kind of like rushed through on that one is that Mr. Satan is Hercule, if you're not familiar with the Japanese end of this.
yeah.
A lot of people aren't. They tuned out after Dragon Ball Z left Toonami, you know? So it's okay. It's not a big problem. But the thing is that
changed it for Hercule because the Christian moms were pissy about it.
because they didn't understand who he was. And that's the hard part about this is that the name fits. The name fits because Hercule is nothing but a showboat when we first meet him. He is absolutely all about himself. He cares very little about his daughter. He cares enough, but he cares very little about his daughter. And then as the show progresses, he has this amazing character arc where he discovers what real heroism is as he's watching the Z fighters get their ass kicked by Cell. And then as he goes into the Boo saga, he has this profound new understanding of what self-sacrifice is, having only understood a hero to simply be the strongest man in the room. And again, like, so having him start out, no, that's what I mean is that like he cares about Videl in the sense, but when we first meet him, he's very self-centered, is what I'm telling you. Is when we first meet Hercule, as Mr. Satan, is that he's very self-centered, and over time, he's brought down to earth. What's that?
And he's let the fame get to his head, but then like by the end of the Boo saga, when Fat Boo really helped him get in touch with his humanity.
Well, he wanted a son. When you really get down to what Fat Boo is for him, it's a boy child. That's it. He's got nothing wrong with Videl, but it's just a boy child. When you get the way he treats Kid Boo, it's like his son. You know, I think he calls him son, doesn't he?
Fat Boo, yeah. I think he does.
I don't remember. I can't tell exactly, but I want to say I heard the American voice actor that's introduced Boo as his son. I could be wrong, but maybe maybe he was talking about the puppy. I don't remember, but
But yeah, like because of Hercule like being on the road all the time and stuff like that, he really, and also, you know, Vidal's mom leaving him, probably that too. I think he lost sight of what family was. And then when, you know, he became close with Boo as well as the puppy, it just he remembered what family was, and also in a way, you know, learned what being a hero, what he, by seeing Goku and Vegeta fight, he learned what being a real hero was. And hell, even seeing Fat Boo fight Kid Boo and seeing him sacrifice himself, like that he learned even more what being a hero was.
Well, you got the link, champ.
Well, come
So
on
either
in.
way, Satan, Mr. Satan, I believe the name fit. I don't think it was ever meant to be like, this is a really cool character, is that he was meant to be a character to go from an arc where he was showboating, self-centered, and then up to a much more, you know, like much more leveled guy, I guess, much more down to earth, maybe is a better way to put it. The bald spot definitely helped that too. So that was another thing about his humility, was another example of his humility was that he was like bald. So I appreciated that. That was again, like I you know, I get it, he's getting older, but again, it was another example of like, yes, Hercule so proud of his strength, is now got these wiry arms and he's bald, and it was a good kind of like, I guess, like humility lesson. I don't know. Fun. But that's why I like the name Mr. Satan for him over Hercule. I get why they did it, but it fits better if he's Mr. Satan. Spencer's here.
And you're muted.
And we can't hear him.
What's up, guys?
There you are.
There I
Yay.
am. So, yeah, unfortunately, guys, I love both of you, but your reads are completely wrong here. None of that applies to Hercule or Vidal at all. You guys are kind of taking tropes from other media and applying it to their situation. Because go back and watch Dragon Ball, or Z, go back and read it. None of that is how their relationship plays out. Mr. Satan always loves Vidal. From the very second we get introduced to him or to her, he is very overprotective of her because he's a father, and he's a father. She's a young teenage girl. He basically is like, I don't want you to go around boys. Very typical father thing. There is no point where he goes, I'm going to ignore you because I'm going to go out on the road and promote myself. What Vidal doesn't like is that she suspects that he wasn't the one who beat Cell. So she's just like, Dad, why are you lying all the time? It's not, Dad, you're neglecting me. It's not, Dad, you don't love me, or Dad, you're not proud of me. It's, you're lying about this entire thing. With Kid Boo, there is no you're my son relationship there. I sorry, Cider, I don't know where you got that read, because they are basically, they are Lloyd and Harry from Dumb and Dumber. They become just sort of two best friends who dope around and end up sometimes helping and sometimes end up hurting. They just become the two bumbling friends. And then what was the last point? Nerdigans. Mr. Satan never, he doesn't stand there and realize what it means to be a hero. If you remember when the Cell game, or not the Cell games, when the Boo tournament, when the World Tournament's happening and everybody's talking like, there's Mr. Satan, he's the one who beat Cell. He's uncomfortable. He's already like, I know I didn't do this, but I've got to sort of play the part, because that was what everybody agreed to at the end of Cell games. They said, we're just going to let Mr. Satan get the credit. And he said, oh, that responsibility is on me now, because otherwise we'd have to tell everybody that we have giant nuclear walking weapons that are just in the form of people walking around. So no, Mr. Satan doesn't learn. He doesn't learn what a hero is. He just gets to the point eventually where he no longer can roll with everybody else and go, yes, I'm on that same level. There's a point where he just goes, I can't keep up the lie anymore. Those are your heroes. It wasn't me. It's not you. It's a complete misread of who he is. You're looking at the stereotypical version of him in other media.
Well, I was mainly referring to when Goku was getting the energy from the spirit bomb, and he realized that he needed to use his influence to gather energy.
Right, but that's not him going, oh, I need to learn how to be a hero. That's him going, I believe in them already, but nobody else does. They'll believe in me because I'm Mr. Satan. I'm Tom Cruise. That's what I'm going to do. He was already a hero.
I have
Right.
no idea what you
Okay.
guys are talking about.
We're talking
It's
about
Dragon
Dragon
Ball.
Ball. But Spencer, we gotta talk before I forget. We gotta talk about Daima real quick because
Definitely. Give me a second. My headphones are being weird. I'm going to jump off and jump back in. But yes, we will talk it.
If I could just throw in my comment here on Dragon Ball Z, whatever era of Dragon Ball you're talking about. Somebody made a post a couple of days ago saying that Tien and Yamcha look like a WWF tag team that won the championship back in like 1997 for like 30 days. And they're on record, you just don't remember them at all as a team. But it's just like that. For some reason, that was so oddly Pacific. It actually plays out pretty well.
it totally. I could see that. I really could.
Mm-hmm.
I can be wrong sometimes. I know I have a lot of things going on, so I get my wires crossed. So either way.
Oh, were you
all
guys
right.
taking a thrashing and I missed
Yeah,
it?
we were getting
Son of a bitch!
thrashing.
Why do I miss the best parts of the show?
But
Anyway.
anyway,
The editors here were discussing what went on with the nuts and bolts of Dragon Ball, and that's what started all of this. And what I pointed out is just like the name Mr. Satan, but I had misread the whole thing. So apparently it's just a throwaway name, but that's all right. But,
like I said,
either way.
it's been a while since I've been out of the DBZ game. All I know is that Spencer had to begrudgingly come over to my side. That all of you guys who slammed Dragon Ball GT several years ago have now come to my side. It's like, you were wrong, and I accept your apology.
Oh no, I am never going over there. Boom para boom para pa. Never, ever, ever coming over to GT. SSJ4 exists in a bubble in my mind. All right, that fell out. That was a DeviantArt picture that came to life. Okay,
Nope. You continue to cope with Super all you want.
I don't like Super. I really don't, because Goku's back being an idiot again, and I don't like idiot Goku. I like Goku when he's like, I'm a dad and I'm a farmer, and that was kind of a nice touch. But then he drifts back into I'm just an idiot fighter again, and it's okay. It's the character. I get what sells, and that's fine. That's sells. But we're talking about how this kind of came to be and how Toriyama was sort of like pushed into continuing the series going. And here we are talking about the continuation of the series beyond Toriyama's influence. Because Super is, while it's guided a little bit, right? Toriyama's not one-to-oneing Super, right? He just kind of offers some notes here and there, and the rest of it's the editorial team and the artist, right?
For the most part.
Well, I think it was and Spencer, I think, could correct me if I'm wrong.
He's closing something.
Yeah.
I think it was it
something started playing very weird. What's up, Nergans?
I know Moro, it was all Toyotaro, right? But I think Granola, it was Toriyama that did the writing, or was it vice versa?
Oh, for the Granola arc?
Yeah. I think Toyotaro did the writing for
I think he did. I think Toyotaro did the like actual writing, but I think Toriyama did like this is the character and this is like what he does. You know what I mean? Like,
but
here's Granola. He's a strong guy. You figure out how to get it there. And Toyotaro was like, okay, I'll do what I can.
But I know Toriyama did the writing for for an arc, for one of the arcs, and I think it was the Granola arc, if I remember correctly.
Or was it the Tournament of Power?
See, that's what I was gonna say, Cider. I'm like, that's what I feel like he's gonna write. Like
that feels more Toriyama-y than any other of the Super chapters, because that again, like Jiren is an absolute asshole of an adversary.
Oh,
like that's Toriyama to the max. Like there's this guy who's a completely nondescript, and he's way more powerful than Goku, and no one's ever heard of him before.
Well, it also plays it literally, he plays into the literal stereotype everybody has about Dragon Ball, right? Where it's like, oh, you just fight and then and you're stronger, because that's literally what Jiren does. He's just there.
Yeah, he just gets pissed off.
And then he goes boom, and Goku goes, oh, that's stronger than Ultra Instinct. Okay. And it's just like, yeah, okay, sure. Of course he had that the entire time. That,
okay, well, what BS level of Super Saiyan do we need to ascend to today to beat this villain of the week?
Right. And the thing is
what color haven't we used yet?
The thing is that you always get this feeling that Goku's got another one up his ass somewhere. Like he's got another one. Like he's like, yeah, no, it's like he did that Super Saiyan 3 thing to Vegeta. You know, where he's like fighting him and he's like, Vegeta's beating his ass out there. And then all of a sudden he's like transforming into Super Saiyan 3 like 2 episodes later.
It must be so frustrating to exist as Vegeta. Just
Right.
like no matter what you do, the guy who you hate and like kind of love, but he does not even hate you at all. He loves you purely, and it's just like no matter what you do, he's always like, "Oh yeah, I got that, guys, I got a new GameCube. Oh yeah, no, I got that and a PlayStation 2 yesterday. Well, this guy, like, what am I doing here?"
Right, exactly. And that's what it is for Vegeta, is like I finally reaches Super Saiyan 3, and then Goku's like, by the way, and he changes into
Boom!
this monkey form, you know?
Oh my
And,
god, that was just the transformation of Masako Nozawa's like freaking career. Oh my god.
Oh, she goes. If it wasn't her, I would have been like, that actress blew her voice out immediately. But no, because it's her and she's been doing it for 400 years. That's why she
We got
held
the
out.
clip. We got the whole clip for it too. Like that was a beautiful throwback to the.
It was
Majin
awesome.
Buu arc.
so
Like-
we can't show
Yeah,
the
we can't
whole
play
clip,
it.
but we can play the transformation part just there where Super Saiyan 3 happens.
Can we
It
play
might
Super
boot
Saiyan
us.
4? Can we do Super Saiyan 3 to Super Saiyan 4 where like where Goku throws the shirt off? Like that was just so goddamn epic.
So
Can we get
okay.
Yeah, here we go.
So like I said, if the stream cuts out, just let us know. Drop an F in the chat. We'll be back in just a second. You don't need to
Doing something with arguably your biggest property and you're making it this big headline thing, you don't subvert expectations, or you don't try and pull one over on people. You try to give them the best thing you can. Because like, yeah, imagine if this Nerdigans and everybody was like, yeah, oh, we're going to get Super Saiyan 4 Goku. And then as he's doing this power up, right, something happens and, oh, Saiyans, they get diarrhea every 3 weeks. And now Goku has to sit the fight out. Who's going to save the day? Oh, it's alternate universe Khalifa or something, right? Like that easily could have happened, but they knew. They were like, if Dragon Ball fans are here, they want Vegeta, they want Goku. We'll give them those guys.
Well, and
But man,
Eternal
it's like-
Kote. What's that?
But I was gonna say it's just incredible. I was telling Sire this before. It's like it's incredible how this clip basically converted like so many Westerners to the Japanese.
To the what?
version
Oh, to
of,
the dub. Oh, to the dub.
Dragon Ball, yeah. Because so many people were hating on the sub for so many years. And this clip just got so many dub watchers converted to the sub immediately.
Good for them. I mean, I still like the dub of Dragon Ball a lot. I know that sounds heretical, but I grew up with it. To me, even though they're kind of jerks, we talk about this all the time. Chris Sabat, Sean Schemmel, those are my guys. I think you should always appreciate the Japanese voices, but I'm always going to watch it in English.
Well, sure. It's the easier language to interpret it in, and you can
Well,
feel
it's
more. You can feel more connected to it.
You can feel more connected, but it's less like anything new. I'll go in Japanese, but it's because that was like in my childhood and it was formative there that I think I'm like, I'll go with English for Dragon Ball. Like it's the only time I'll do it. That and Cowboy Bebop.
The Super Saiyan 3 transformation by Sean Smegma is iconic. The Japanese, while she did a really good job, it's not to the height of Sean Smegma yelling for almost a minute straight. The guy pulled a stomach muscle doing that.
Nerdigans, that's a good point. Nerdigans, have they ever done like some promotional thing where they had like a shout off between Nozawa and Smegma?
I don't think so.
They should do that.
I like how that just
they got to
instantly
promote
caught on.
something. It works.
When you say smegma, now we're not thinking about anything related to a penis. We're relating to a man that looks and acts like a penis.
Acts like one.
Yeah. But we have a question here for a while here. We have Eternal Kote. Can we talk about the original Super Saiyan God? Looked like Vegeta. Yamoshi.
No.
So when we did get the original hint that there was a Super Saiyan God form way back in the day, there was a red-haired Saiyan shown that did look a lot like Vegeta, but there was a noticeable difference. I believe it was in his height. That people were immediately indicating.
No short kings.
Yeah, well, that's why he's a prince, I guess. But
Apparently too.
Well, technically, he's a
Short
king
print.
when his dad died. So
yeah, that's the other thing I always have a question about. But people tell me it's an emotional thing for Vegeta. That's why he won't call himself the king. Is because
The
he was
king
never
of all
properly
Saiyans.
crowned. His father can't properly crown him.
I can actually see that. I get it, and I can run with that, but I'm still with you, Cider. I'm a little bugged. Like, he's still the
It
king,
is. Like, there's 5 of you. Just call yourself king, all right? God.
Yeah,
Prince of
exactly.
what?
Yeah,
Like,
well,
there's 4 of you, and then like 3 of them are related to Goku. So it's like,
well, that's what I'm saying. It's like there's 5 of you, and 3 of them hate your guts. Like,
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. Is Turl still alive? No, he's in hell.
no,
Turl's
I
in
think
hell.
he died. Yeah,
Yeah.
or he got
was-
the even worse fate of being in a movie.
Yeah, well, that is what his fate was. Is he was the main villain in Tree of Might. So that one time where a tree was planted on Earth and sucked the life out of it, and some guy got almost Super Saiyan powers out of eating a single fruit.
And nobody ever brought it up again.
It never happened again. But yeah, the original one looked like that, and I believe that was another one of those. This was a good idea at the time. And then later on, they changed their mind and decided they liked the aesthetic for Super Saiyan 4. So I don't believe that Goku is channeling Super Saiyan God form here. I think we're going to get later on that this is more demonic influence, Super Saiyan 4, Super Saiyan floor gang. But Super Saiyan 4, demonic influence. And later on, we'll see him do the thing he did with Super Saiyan Blue, in that he'll transform into a more base level. He'll have black hair and the red fur on him like the original Super Saiyan.
See, I didn't think you were going that way. Because in my mind, I see the purple pink Super Saiyan 4, and I'm just like, it's just a color change. It's the palette thing they did, whatever. I didn't think that hard, but now that you put that out there, at first I was going to be like, this is just a color change. He's going to go like Super Saiyan Blue 4 or whatever, and he'll get that. But now I think you're right. At some point, he's going to have like Ultra Instinct Super Saiyan 4, and that'll make him look normal or like the original one. I think you're completely right.
Yeah, there'll be some kind of form. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, if it does happen, it will be because it will be in a future Dragon Ball Super arc. It will probably be when it will be when they go to the Demon Realm.
Oh yeah, it's definitely not going to be the next episode. Definitely not going to be that.
What I have seen this. I got to look it up really quick, so I need a little cover here. But
and also Yamoshi, for those wondering, Yamoshi is in Super Dragon Ball Heroes manga. He makes his appearance there.
Well, he's in there, and if for everybody who doesn't remember where he made his actual like canon debut, Nerdigans, he's in Battle of the Gods. It's there's who is talking? Is it Whis or is it Beer? Somebody's talking about Super Saiyan. It's the Oracle Fish. Yeah. He's telling Vegeta and Goku about Super Saiyan God, and it does this little like mythology flashback, and there's this glowing red Super Saiyan God figure, and it is basically Vegeta with a tail. So it was, I'm kind of with you. That was sort of a weird bait and switch, and I think, but to Cider's point, I think they didn't know what they wanted to do with Super Saiyan God anyway. That I've never seen a transformation kind of get shoved to the side so fast. We got this big buildup for Battle of the Gods, right, Nerdigans? And that's the whole climax of the movie. Look, Goku's red. And they even sort of sold that visually by going, oh, he's not even buff anymore. He's just normal Goku with red hair. Like, this is scary. And then the next movie, they're like, oh, by the way, you can go a level above that to Super Saiyan Blue. And I was just like, then what was the point? It's even easier to go to Super Saiyan Blue than it is to go to God. Because with God, you need like, what was it? The 5 Saiyans around you or whatever, and they all need to be on the same wavelength.
Well, Vegeta was able to figure it out without that, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, he did. So you don't even really need that. So who knows anymore when it comes to Super Saiyan?
Like, I still feel like this is for kind of foreshadowing, and I've said this before, this is foreshadowing what we see in Battle of Gods, because with God, you need, similar to this, you need like kind of like a ritual.
I always forget that this is technically before that. Like,
and like
they're doing the Star Wars thing, and I hate it.
The color and the eyes, like the red hair and the red eyes. It's like, this totally foreshadows God, but like this is like Limit Breaker meets like Super Saiyan 4 meets God, like Super Saiyan God. That's what I just can't help seeing.
I totally forgot that this is before Gods, and I think you might be onto something.
But they still can sense his ki, so that's why this isn't God, is because they can sense his ki.
It's also not God because he's buff as heck.
There's that too.
This is super stupid. I don't know what happened. There was this really cool art of Kid Brawly as Super Saiyan 4.
Oh, there's plenty of like
and I can't.
There's Super Saiyan 4 Broly in Super Dragon Ball Heroes. Like we
Oh,
see him.
Well, no. Someone did a really cool version where we had green fur, like this
Oh,
little.
I want
Yeah,
that's cool.
yeah, and they
To see,
dressed him up like
in my
the
head,
kid
that's cool.
Goku.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't find the art of it now because like X is so good at organizing things. You search SSJ4 Brawly and you're like, well, here's everything but, buddy.
Everything but that, and we're also going to give you results from like 2015. Have fun.
Yeah, great.
Speaking
it was
of
a really cool picture.
Nerdigans, with your Super Dragon Ball Heroes mention, did you hear? So you're gonna have to help me out here a little bit because this is where I get lost in the sauce because there's like 900 different titles and games for everything. But in Japan, you know that there was that not like, okay, it's a Dragon Ball card game, but it's not like a trading card game. It was the one you go to like arcades and you put your card on the machine and it battles like against people, and then you save your data to like that card, you level up that hero or whatever. Earlier this year, or like maybe late last year, they introduced the new version of that game.
You're talking about Divers, right?
Huh?
You're talking about Divers?
No, I can't remember if it's like Divers or if it's World Mission. I can't remember exactly the name it is, but maybe it's Divers. As soon as I have to shut up, I'll go look it up. But what were you saying?
Yeah, because Super Dragon Ball Heroes finished because you had Ultra Mission and Meteor Mission done. And then there was a one shot for Divers. So I think that because that's the new game.
Okay, I think you're right. But regardless of the name, I'll get it for everybody again when I have to be quiet for like more than 10 seconds.
Yeah.
But
So I found a substitute, and this is just
nice.
how it'll have to be. It's not the one I was talking about, but it's close enough. This stupid Windows 11. You gotta love it.
Oh, dude, no, reject that at all times. I don't care. Like, I know Broly is like an edgy character, but I guess maybe it's because we all grew up at like the right time for this to hit that 12-year-old lizard part of our brains.
Yeah.
But I love Broly. Like, even this is a little stupid, but I want it. I want it more than anything.
Well, he's the Hulk. He's Hulk the Saiyan. And I don't know why he doesn't join the Saiyan Avengers. Like, that would be a very cool thing to happen at the end of Dragon Ball Super. Well, no, to be like a permanent member of the team, like Piccolo is, like Gohan is, like a permanent Z fighter. And he has this constant sort of like off and on fight with Goku that gets a little too serious sometimes.
I like that.
And Vegeta has to step in and remind him, I'm, the prince, you listen to me, and that kind of thing.
Well, that would
Broly
be really cool, Cider, jumping off of what you just said, because like, if you remember in the Super movie, Broly, that was part of the thing, right? Broly gets really, really mad and he loses his mind and starts attacking everybody. And then at the end, he breaks reality, takes us into the CG model land. And then, and then at the end, right? And then going forward, he's sort of learning how to be calm, learning how to control himself with Goku and Vegeta. I like that idea of he's always got to sort of keep that in control, because if he goes over the top, he's just going to lose it. And then what does that do in the fight? Yeah. Right.
He's got that little girlfriend who can do the, hey, big guy, sun's getting real low, thing with him that brings him back down.
We talked about this last week, but I almost thought they were going to do that with Sam and Red Hulk in Captain America. But instead of the little, like, because that's what happens at the end. Instead, like, he does the, like, Ross is like freaking out and Sam's like, no, I don't have to fight him. Mr. President, I know you're a good person. And he like puts out his hand and he's like, you don't have to do this. And that makes Harrison Ford go, oh, I'm being bad. And he shrinks down. But as soon as he goes, no, don't hit him, I got this, and he puts out his hand, I'm like, do not start doing the little stupid Hulk poem thing that Black Widow does.
See, the thing is if Tony Stark was alive in this, that's what he would have done. And it would have been hilarious when Hulk like bitch slapped him into a car and left like a melted handprint in the chest of the Iron Man armor. That would have been
great. Yeah. But instead that was actually how we resolved the movie. But before we go back to this point, I just wanted to finish that thing for Nerdigans, which is, so they did the new version of that game, Nerdigans, and to roll it out, they made all new machines that run all new software. And then they announced like, oh, we're doing all new cards too. Your old cards aren't going to work. That game is dead. They just, like, last week, there were a bunch of reports that arcades across Japan were taking it out because nobody was playing it. Nobody, nobody wanted to do it. It's sort of like the now I'm going like a little bit off, but it's like a live service thing, right? Nobody, if you put all of this investment into, say, Fortnite, all this time, all this money for your skins, somebody comes out with something DC Fortnite or whatever, you're not going to jump over because, wow, I don't want to restart. I already have all of the stuff. I have all of this investment. So I don't know why I brought that up. I just thought it was hilarious. Not even Dragon Ball can survive trying to baselessly milk its fans.
They should have just kept it like they should have just made it compatible with Super Dragon Ball Heroes. Like that was really stupid.
They should have, but that's sort of what I was getting at, is that it's the greed, as we always see, right? They said it really is MCU logic. They said, oh, we're so popular, we can do whatever, and they'll eat it up. Give it to them. And we didn't eat it up. Sam basically went all Rodney King. What?
Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah. No, that is the end of the movie, though. He just goes, "Can't we all be friends? Aren't you sad, President Ross?" Yes.
Stupid.
By the way, multiverse is coming. End.
That arguably could be Harrison Ford's last role, and
it could be. Like I've had that fear since Force Awakens, man. Like he came back for that, and I saw him in that movie. And after he got Kylo'd, I went, well, at least he's out of this, and he can go be in anything else, and he can
go crash a plane. Which is what he immediately did as soon as that movie came out. Is he crashed a plane? In the back of my mind, I think about how Star Wars turned out. I was like, what if he knew, and he almost got away? Like he almost got away.
It was one of those moments of like he didn't go up with that intention, but he went, what if I just let the stick go? Like what if I look over this way for a second?
They're gonna make me come back for Rise of the Skywalker.
No, that's what happened. Filming wraps on Force Awakens, and so he's over in his plane like a week later, and he's going up, and he gets a call, and it's like, yeah, by the way, we need you back in 4 years for the next one, and he just goes,
his hands up. It's like, okay. The emergency crews roll up. They pull him out, and he's like, Harrison Ford, are you okay?
Put me back.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly.
He just shoves him off as son of a bitch. He's just walking away, getting in his son of a bitch.
Yeah, just stands up, like dusts himself off. Son of a bitch, like walks off, and just everybody's okay. He's good.
I guess he's all right.
They on the press tour or during the press cycle for Brave New World, I think it was like GQ or Vanity, somebody did like a long form interview with him, and it was one of those interviews where the interviewer honestly, he probably can't. Yeah, that was just him, guys. That wasn't CG. That wasn't why the movie is so cheap to make. It was they just filmed him waking up. Well, it was cheap to make, but to pay him for the right to film his wake up scenes, they had to give him $200 million. Dang, I don't even remember what I was laughing. Oh, yeah. So it's one of those interviews where the interviewer does a lot of like flowery writing where he's like, I met up with Harrison Ford at 6 a.m. as the sunrise, was like just one of those flowery pieces, whatever. But the main crux of the story is like about an hour after we met up, where I find myself sitting in a hangar in Burbank while Ford like gets ready to take us out on his plane. And I was just like, do you know what's going to happen? Do you have like extra insurance from GQ or whatever? This is probably
have Harrison Ford insurance. Have you insured for Harrison Ford?
California pulled out of fire insurance and Harrison insurance. It's just not a good business for them.
So I don't know if this is real or not, but speaking of not a good business decision, we do have oh boy, I can't believe this is real. I can't believe this is real. I really can't. We have The Thing Bomba Clock from MarvelRivalSkins.com.
Dang, I wish that was real.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I can smell the weed in the Sean Paul DVDs right now as we speak.
He's even got the weed belt.
Look at the weed belt. That's incredible. If this was out, I would be rushing to buy this. If this was a real skin, they would have to make the braids or the dreads actually move, and I would play it every day.
Oh yeah, it would be great.
Now, all he needs now is an obese white woman on his side, and he'll be full blown.
It's the invisible Uman. That's who he with the invisible
Oh
woman.
god.
Well, no, he's got that blind girlfriend, right?
Oh yeah, there you go.
Right,
His,
but she was blinded by Ozempic. That's why
but
she's fat.
Yes. This feels like a GTA thing because I was gonna be like, yeah, the only way she can find Ben is just by the weed smell. But that legitimately feels like a GTA couple, like girlfriend
Trevor.
got blinded by Ozempic. Yeah, it feels like Trevor and his girlfriend, right? Like
Trevor got
that girl
turned into the thing.
got hot,
Yep.
but she went blind from Ozempic, and then she's hanging out with Trevor, and she can only identify him from like the reek of the alcohol.
If they wanted to do it in GTA 6, you could do that because they did in Battlefield. They had a rocket launch. So here's what you do: is you have Trevor. It's a mission. You go on the mission with Trevor. You get in a rocket. You go up into space. You get exposed to cosmic radiation. You come back as superheroes, and that's the DLC. You come back as the shittiest superheroes, like the Venture Brother ones. Where
Yes,
it was painful for the light up guy to light up.
That's what
and
I was
she can only make
thinking of
her
every
skin
time.
invisible.
Like,
I'm on fire.
There's one for the next episode of Marvel What If. Like, what if Peter Parker was born in Nigeria, but he's not black? It's just white Peter Parker in Nigeria.
Right. And he becomes the Black Panther.
Yeah. He just goes around wearing the dashiki, talking in a Nigerian accent.
Yes. Oh no.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Every time I think of a white person wearing like kente gear, I just think of that awful like picture of the Democrats during like the George Floyd stuff where they were in the like Capitol and they were all wearing like kente like hats and scarves and they kneeled, and I love that photo because it's like no wonder you guys keep
if
like
you do not have my money by the end of this day, my hand and your face will be best friends.
It's clobbering time.
That would be great.
Ganja time.
They replaced the clobbering timeline with bomba clot, and they just belly bob somebody.
They're just playing the Bad Boys theme song in the background.
Yes, the whole time. The whole time.
And if they're gonna do it, we got to get it. He'll be voiced by Nicki Minaj's cousin's fiance, who got the COVID shot and his balls exploded.
Out in the street, they call it murder.
Well, speaking of murder and just like unexpected twists, I did not expect an NFL linebacker to try to take on a sumo wrestler and expect it to go any way. Watch this. This is edge rusher Micah Parsons from the Cowboys. I think he's where he's from, and he's trying to take on a sumo, and it doesn't go the way he thinks. See, he's ready to go. Ready? Stops him.
Oh, that's awesome.
Watch the sumo wrestler, though. He can't get a hold of him, but when he does, he picks him right up.
He's going to handle him. I can just tell.
Yeah, and he's got him. I need somebody in your weight. Yeah, no. You need to go back to America.
And you can tell he wasn't even like really trying either. So it's like, no, if he was really going after it, he would have basically torn him apart.
He's not trying at all. He's like, this is a really weird way to do this, my friend.
He's like patting him on the back, like, good job.
It's like you're wrestling your 8-year-old cousin.
Right. He's learning how you're a pro, that kind of thing. You're state champion. He's just learning. Yeah. So now the conversation on the internet is, how come the NFL doesn't hire sumo wrestlers? And it's like, well, because the ramen in America sucks.
And that too. Yeah, we here in America, it's like, here's ramen, and then we've got our bazinga ramen, and we add 4 different spices or whatever. And it's just like you go to Japan.
It's jalapeno ramen.
Yeah, and it's just like, you want ramen with pork or beef?
With Cheeto dust on it. Let's go.
Yeah, I see those way too much. And like one of my ex-girlfriends, she was a big foodie, like Instagram foodie and everything. So she'd always be like, you want to go eat this? You want to go there? And I'm like, what did they do to that? Like sushi? What did they do to that ramen? That's a war crime.
Is that just ground up Fruity Pebbles on the top of this?
Seen it on a sushi. So you're not completely far off.
I've seen it on a pizza.
E Honda versus Balrog. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Spencer, were you there in San Diego? I don't remember the exact name of it. There was like a weird pizza place that was like close to downtown, but not quite there. And it was like Crazy Pizza or something like that, where they would do like these weird combinations, like peanut butter and jelly, and like all this. Like I can't remember the exact name of it. It was basically somewhere like north of the downtown area.
It was like a little bit north in that that it's in that weird gap when you're going up like the 5 near like the beach, and it's in that weird area. It's crazy something. I think you're right, but yeah, lived up to the name, that's for sure.
The thing is that take a look at the bicep on the sumo. You see that?
That's not even activated.
Right. And that see, a lot of people have the mistaken identity because we talked about this in the Assassin's Creed video.
Yes, we did.
So a lot of people think that sumo is just fat. Just biggest guy, belly bumps the other guy out of the ring. But the reality of it is that you have, if you've ever seen the competition of like crash derby cars getting hooked up in front of each other and they're just pushing, nobody's backing up. They're trying to pull each other. They're trying to overpower the other one. It's a sumo wrestling thing. I'm trying to explain it in like the more American style so we understand it and the more we get it. Because the bigger engine doesn't win in this either. It's the traction. In this case, the traction is that man's legs. If you take a look at that bicep, you have to pick up your sumo opponent. He's got just as much push as you do. And that's why that man's bicep is that way, not even holding the NFL wrestler. He's just reaching. It's not even like activated, like Spencer said. His almonds haven't been activated there. He's just reaching. But that's how much power these guys are, is that they are just muscle underneath that. So you see somebody go bear mode, right? You've heard bear mode before. That's the there's the ectomorph and the endomorph. And the ectomorph body type is the body type that turns into a bear when you work out. You don't get the Superman physique that's shaped like a Dorito. You get the like barrel. You become a human barrel. Scott Steiner is a good example of this. Steiner is just like shoulder to hip, the same ratio. There's no definition from like the underarm to the hip. It's just bump, you know? And that's how sumo wrestlers work. You will not find an ectomorph.
He's like a Chansey. He's just pure one shape.
Right. Rey Mysterio is an ectomorph body type, meaning the more muscle he piles on, he's still going to be a wiry guy. It's not because he's short. It's that the muscles are more densely packed on him. Whereas you have the ectomorph, who has the more expansive muscle style, which is what you have with the sumo wrestlers. You know, and like men breakdown tend to be one or the other. Very few do you have like the crossover guys. Like Bruce Lee was an ectomorph. Yep. Hulk Hogan is an endomorph. And that's how, the other way around. Ectomorph's a big guy, endomorph's the little guy. And that's how that
might hang from the ceiling. No, I'm kidding.
Right. But that's what it is. And so it's very fascinating. Like you see here, the linebacker is an endomorph. You can see he's got the body definition. It doesn't matter how tall you get. It doesn't mean you have to be short to be an endomorph. But the ectomorph body style is just man barrel. And that's and all the sumo wrestlers are that body style, no matter where they come from around the world.
Yeah.
All of them are that style. And you have to be. Because if you have a denser body thing, it's why women bodybuilders don't get as large as men do. But most of the time they can pick up as much weight. Not all the time. Peak male bodybuilder can always outbeat peak female bodybuilder. It's just the way men and women are built. But most of the time,
you can't say that. Type A can beat type B, okay?
Well, yeah, right, and that's another thing. But the bodybuilding thing is a good example of this. Is that it doesn't matter how big the ectomorph gets, he's always going to be a barrel. The endomorph, it doesn't matter how big the endomorph gets, he's always going to maintain that kind of Bruce Wayne, like multi-platform athletic look. Like I can run, I can jump, I can shot put, I can javelin. I'm not just the track guy, you know? Whereas the endomorph's like, no, I can't. I just bench press refrigerators. That's what I do. That's all I do all the time. I'm the ectomorph. And that's what's fascinating about this, just this body type matchup of how different they are in their ability.
And like that's what I just wanted to note. This thing is like in this video, Micah, like he knows that he's probably not gonna like win, and he's just going like, let's see what happens. It's so different from the attitude we see with more other Westerners, like Cider was talking about, where they'd go, oh, sumo is dumb, they're just fat, I can win. Right? Like Micah at least recognizes like, oh, I see an athlete when I know an athlete.
He says, I need somebody in my weight class. It's not going to help you.
I love that beginning though, where he's literally Looney Tunesing it. Like his feet do not move.
Yeah. Watch the sumo's feet. Watch as he charges, he gets him, he pushes him, and he's sliding anime style. Watch that. Watch his lead toe. He slides anime style. All you needed was a little puff of dust down there, you know?
One of the best it was one of the best threads I ever read, and one of the most sort of like eye-opening I ever read was a couple years ago, maybe like 1 or 2. Somebody on Japanese Twitter posted this video of there was like a sumo competition, and in the front row somebody caught a video of like these 2 girls, like these 2 women who were like fawning over the sumo wrestlers, right? Like there's just these 2 huge dudes in front of them, and they're like, ooh, like taking pictures, like talking about it. And a lot of people, especially Westerners, were like, really? Are they just like, is that common, or is that just what they're into? And that thread had so many Japanese women pouring out, being like, no. That is peak. Like, I'm ready to have like 17 kids and start a new like shogunate. It's crazy. Women love the sumo.
Well, and that's just what it is that sumo tend to be the more, in personality, more domineering men. And in Japan, domineering attitudes are kind of down turd. Because again, like they don't have traditional American football. So they don't have the kind of like head-on style sports other than sumo. Sumo is the rare in-your-face. Martial arts, you're still punching a guy at the end of your reach. You're still kicking a guy at the end of your reach. Sumo, you are face-to-face with this man, huffing and puffing the same garlic-infused breath to each other as you're shoving one another out of a 12-foot ring.
It's like the closest you can get to old school, like battlefield combat, right? Like clashing swords and seeing the other guy's like whites up his eyes.
Yeah, and that's what I really enjoyed about this demonstration. It was like, we're just going to remind you that like once American football gets out of America, it's not that powerful anymore. It's actually up against quite a bit of ancient physical training that's still one of my favorite jokes, and it's an admitted like L on our end, but it's like Americans invented one sport and then they made like the world championship. It's us, and oh look, we won. Like, heck yeah, of course we did. Go America. We are the world championship. And so we do have to come down from like the laughy haha stuff and acknowledge that there has been a very abrupt tragedy in Hollywood, and I'm not gonna run around it too much here. But here's the reality of Michelle Trachtenberg passed away at age 39 today.
I literally woke up, read this news, and it was one of those moments where like my jaw dropped. I actually said out loud like WTF. Hey, it's me in HD. She was one of like my earliest celebrity crushes, like back in like the Euro Trip days, the Buffy days, and even on things like she was on Gossip Girl, she was on Pete and Pete, right? And I just can't believe
she was the girl next door.
Easy. She was. Oh, now that I think about it, I think that was the hit.
So, I'm kind of paying a little bit more close attention to her final years more than others. So I know a lot of people, this came as a pretty big shock. Yeah, I mean, she was only 39 years old. She was going to turn 40 this year, but health-wise, over really just like the last 10 years, her health has declined significantly. And if you recall, there were stories, like a few articles were mentioning that, people were concerned about her health last year because she didn't post as many selfies on Instagram or social media as she used to. And there was a few photos where you can tell that her eyes were like very yellow. She had lost a lot of weight and she just didn't look well, right? And people were like, yeah, you okay? But what's going on? And she was very defensive about, her health, basically saying that no, she's healthy, she's fine, she's okay. And going after people questioning otherwise, but I mean, you can just look at her and see that something wasn't right here. You knew that something was up.
Like to your point, I admittedly have not been paying attention to her. I'm not really obviously Jacob's more tuned into Hollywood and everything, so he's got a better read on this. I knew she was around, didn't know what she was doing, didn't follow her on Instagram. Found that news out today and was like, what happened? This is so crazy. In the barroom chat, or in the barroom podcast group chat, somebody was like, oh yeah, I think it was you were like, she got a liver transplant and that's what went wrong. And I was like, I didn't even know she needed that. And then I started seeing people or again, I think it was you. My days all run together and everything I read just runs together. But somebody was like, yeah, if you go look at the photos of her just from like a couple months ago, she's not well. Like everybody knew it. And I was like, can't be that bad, right? And you look at it and she looks like, a crack ghoul. Like, I'm not even
Yeah.
kidding. Like, her eyes are bulging out of her head. She's wafer thin. Her hair is doing the, I know Jacob and probably Cider, considering
Straight
he's
on
in
screen.
Maine. Yeah. Oh yeah, there you go. Like, it's getting the what do you call it? Like the stringy crackhead look. That's really all I can say. Yeah.
And
then her eyes, man.
Yeah, so like I think because what happened was that her last really big deal in Hollywood was like Gossip Girl, and I think that was like towards like the late 2000s is when that one came out.
That was like when we were in high school.
I mean, I was well over high school at that point.
Whatever.
I was in college.
My last year of high school. I was close. I'm a big boy.
But yeah, no. So like, what happened was is that after that show, whatever, like her career obviously didn't really do much of anything. Like she had a couple of like 2B projects, kind of like low budget like projects, stuff like that. But her career kind of fizzled out. There was a time period like a number of years ago where she had gained a little bit of weight, but then she started like rapidly losing the weight, and the stuff that she would post like on social media was like very like offensive and very, very like, I wouldn't say off-putting, but you could definitely tell that there was something like going on there. So it's like mentally she wasn't really in a good state, and God knows what was actually going on behind closed doors with her.
See, that's what I wanted to ask you, because like like I said, you're tuned into all this, and it doesn't just seem like this is a liver like, I guess it is, but I don't know.
Well,
like
the problem is, like, this is the thing, because obviously, whenever something like this happens, people's like, "Oh, it must have been the vax." And it's like, I get it, but at the same time, in this specific case, it could have been a number of things. Like, I'll tell you, we found out today that obviously she recently had a liver transplant, but obviously that was something that she was concealing up to that point. So we don't really know what caused the need for a liver transplant before 40 years old. It could have been, obviously alcohol. People pointed that. It could have been that. It could have been drugs. She could have been dealing with some kind of illness that she kept concealed for a number of years, and that could have led out to it. Could have been cancer related. It's like, we don't really know all the facts just now. And to be honest with you, even if we had heard like it was something like suicide related, I wouldn't even have been surprised. Like, that was just kind of like how bad of in a place that she had been in for quite a while. And I mean, it's where the last couple of years it feel like that maybe she was taking like a little bit of the turn, but there was a reason why she kind of hid herself in the public eye for a while. There was something definitely going on there those last couple of years, and it sucks that it ended specifically like this way. Like, I know everyone is like knows her from, like I said, for me, from my perspective here, like I knew her all the way back from like the 90s. So it's like when she was on Pete and Pete, I remember her before Harriet the Spy. And obviously Harriet the Spy was a big thing for the Nickelodeon crowd. And then obviously she got older, and everyone knows her now for like Euro Trip. She was also in that Black Christmas remake from 2006. Did a few other films, and obviously Gossip Girl was like her last big project.
I felt bad for that too, because I remember when she did that movie in 2006. That was sort of like her big, I'm not gonna say big Hollywood break, because she already did Euro Trip, but like that was supposed to be her next level like career step up from TV, and then that movie was bad. And then she kind of just
problem with Black Christmas 2006, I'm not sure how many people actually remember this, but
or how many people were born, but
yeah, right. But no, like that movie got a lot of heat. It wasn't just the fact that it was a bad movie, but you remember the previews and the advertisements for that movie showed you several scenes that from the trailers that never actually made it to the movie at all. It's like there's one scene where like Lacey Chavez is being like dragged away into like some kind of like wood chipping device that's not in the film at all. I think at one point Michelle Trachtenberg was holding a shotgun, cocking it. That was never in the movie at all. So it's like you go in there expecting all these cool scenes, and then the next thing you know, she dies like pretty early on in the film. And it's like, wait, isn't she supposed to be like holding a shotgun later? Like, she's dead already? And then that's
I came for that, and you're telling me it's not happening? Yeah.
Exactly.
I remember that that was one of the first big instances of bait and
that
switch.
Was absolutely that was the textbook definition of a bait and switch movie, because they put a whole bunch of scenes in the advertisement that was not in that movie whatsoever. They didn't even put it in the deleted scenes. That's how bad it was.
They're just gone now. Yeah.
Yeah. There were no alternate cuts. It was just like, no, we did that solely for the trailer and nothing else. So yeah, people were not happy about that one, but yeah, I mean, like I said, for if you haven't been following her for a while, I could see how this could be like a much bigger shock to a lot of people. But if you paid attention to her decline in the last few years, then you're not too surprised that this happened. I mean, it's still sad, but it's not terribly surprising.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so like I said,
it's a
go
bummer.
ahead.
No, I was just I really don't know how to put a stamp on this. Like
Yeah.
I still I don't know. It's weird. We're getting to that point where people we all actually know, like
Yeah.
they're starting to die. Like we had like Akira Toriyama and Michelle Trachtenberg, and I know there's been so many others, but it's again Harrison Ford. Stop acting in bad Marvel movies.
Mhm. I mean, it's one thing where it's like the older guys that we all know are starting to go. It's like when guys get to like their 60s, 70s, and 80s, then yeah, those people are probably going to start dropping off. And it's not like too uncommon, but when you see someone basically in our age group start going like away too, because you guys recall, you guys remember I talk about the show all the time, The Jersey on So Weird.
Yes.
And some of you guys remember after that Zoog Disney era, the guy who played Nick Leiter, who was one of the pretty much the main cast guy in the show, he died like almost 10 years ago, and he was suffering from numerous health issues that, you know, not officially stated, but people indicate it could have been alcohol related, basically, that he drunk himself to death, and a whole bunch of things happened too. And like I said, I mean,
Mickey Mouse Club.
Yeah, dude, like the saddest thing about it is that, you know, when it's all said and done, Michelle Trachtenberg, you know, her end of her career was not, you know, very good in a lot of instances, and she's just another example of just, you know, a poor young girl that Hollywood chewed up and spit out. And unfortunately, she won't be the first, and she won't be the last.
I mean, look at what you guys saw what happened with Matthew Perry, the news that came out that he was basically pumped full of ketamine the last
yeah.
month or so of his life. That's just like that's so heartbreaking.
It's all just no, it like Jacob said, this is something that happens to way too many of these young actresses and actors. This is what Jacob and I like talk about when we say protect Iman Vellani, right? Because this is the more likely outcome, unfortunately, than becoming a
superstar.
Like a Gwyneth Paltrow or whatever, right? Like this is more likely, and it's so heartbreaking every time.
Well, like I said, sometimes, you know, getting in the club isn't exactly what you want.
Yes.
So.
Well, and I'm not so sure that was like her situation. Like I've seen these eyes before. I'm sure you have too. Where how did I get here?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
How did I get here? And
well, just sort of the
and
entire
like I said,
look, the dyed hair with the pink tips, the stringy hair, the gaunt look, the yellow eyes.
It's like every burnout single mom you've ever seen, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying too. It's like, you know, there was clearly health issues that contributed to this, but at the same time, you can 1000% see that there was a lot of emotional pain going on there too. And I'm pretty sure that was
you could definitely tell that there was definitely something wrong with her liver based on her skin tone and her eyes. You could definitely tell.
The eyes were so wild. Yeah, go ahead, Cider. Sorry.
Well, no, it's just kind of the way to send this off is like, you know, it's not necessarily about how bad she looks. It's the state of which that she was left in.
Exactly.
And that's where the tragedy of it lies, is that this person who had met quite a few powerful people in life was not important enough to them to reach out and at the very least have her not appear in this I wouldn't say it's that her hair's wrong, that her skin's wrong, that her eyes are wrong, but when you do look into the pupils, when you look into the human soul in this picture, let her get to the point where she feels abandoned, because that's the look in her eye right here.
Actually, no, I feel like you just hit that right on the head. That is what that is.
I do agree with that, but at the same time, too, we got to keep this in mind. Like I said, she did conceal the more serious aspects of her health issues to the public, so who knows if she was also doing that to people in private, too. Like,
that's true.
We don't know privately who knew that she was going through all these issues as well. She could have been completely closed off over the last couple of years, too, and it's really, really hard and difficult to, you know, reach out to people like that who are kind of like shut themselves off to everyone as well. So
I mean, it's the same thing with Matthew Perry as well. He shut himself off from everyone. No one knew that he relapsed and was back on ketamine, because remember, he was sober for a while, and then then all of a sudden he relapsed.
And I mean, like that's a sad reality, right? Is a lot of these people probably do have people who say, hey, we're looking out for you, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But it's cliche, but until they're ready to say, yeah, I want help, they're not going to take it. And they're just going to make up excuses and say, no, I'm great, you're toxic, blah, 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 blah. And then we unfortunately can get to these points.
Yeah, that's a good point. But that's all I read out of it is when I look at these pictures and the picture that Jacob was showing is she has that look of like, I feel abandoned, you know, and that's all.
I think I'm not sure if it was with our group or like another group, but we did have some conversation about Michelle Trachtenberg, like maybe like a few months to a year ago.
Okay, it was our group. I swore that we had just talked about it.
I don't remember the exact context, but she did come up and like we showed like pictures of her from kind of around the same time period. And it's like, yeah, man, you could just see like, you know, the unhappiness and the pain in her eyes and just like emotionally just not right. So it's like I said, when I heard the news today, I wasn't surprised. I know a lot of people were, but then, like I said, if you just seen her last couple of years, like, something was definitely up. So that sucks.
Yep. Well, again, I mean, like they want to do a Buffy reboot. Now that's going to be even more.
Oh, I didn't even think about that, dude. That thing's got to just go.
just let it go. You're clearly not going to bring back what's his face,
David Boreanaz or whatever.
Or Joss Whedon.
Spike Angel.
No, what's his face?
Joss Whedon.
Whedon, not good. Yeah, you're clearly not bringing him back, especially since, you know, years before, you know, she passed away, she alleged some things had happened with Whedon behind the scenes. So it's like, yeah, that avenue's dead, and like I said, she's now literally dead. So you might as well just throw that out the window. Like, it ain't gonna happen now.
And that's not even getting into like, oh, the only real person returning is Sarah Michelle Gellar, but she's going to be like the old mentor. And then everybody else in the cast has made posts about the show, but they're kind of like, see what happens. Yeah. Sounds good. Good luck, everybody.
That's another aspect to it too, and I don't understand it. I mean, I get it from like one perspective because there was people out there that was obviously like inquiring about, hey, look, she doesn't look good. Something's wrong here. And you always get that people out there be like, stop talking about her health. It's none of your business and all that stuff. But it's like, same thing with Chadwick Boseman in his last few years. You can tell something was wrong. So it's like, are we just supposed to pretend like everything's fine until we find out, oh no, he's gone. How did this happen? It's like, you can tell if you have a functioning pair of eyes that something's wrong here. So it's like, do we just not address the elephant in the room because it
reminds me a lot of what we're going through right now with Ariana Grande, dude. Like,
yeah, Ariana Grande does not look well. It's like, you know, because then that's the other thing too. Let's say I'm not trying to like put anything bad out there, but I mean honestly, let's say in the next 2 years Ariana Grande passes away. Is anyone going to be surprised by that outcome based on how she's looked in the last several months? You would look at her and see something is clearly wrong here. What's happening? This is something maybe we should discuss before we get to the inevitable result here, where it's like, oh well, oops. Like,
dude, she literally looks like the beware version of a person that they put in like PSAs about eating disorders. You know what I mean? Like, and I still see her fans all the time doing exactly what you said. The don't say anything. You don't know. She's just, you know, that's a bad angle. It's this, da, 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 da. And I'm like, you guys are going to deny her into death.
Yeah. Because then when she actually does pass, you guys are going to be very, very quiet.
Oh yeah. Oh no, they'll make their what do you call it? What are those called? Like fan cams or whatever, and say, oh, we loved her so much, and that it'll be a cancel spree because then that group will go, oh, but you said this, and then they'll look it up and they'll say, oh, you said this, because none of them are good people. So
yeah.
Well,
I don't know. I'll just real quick and I'll let Cider go. Yep. I don't know. Maybe this would be a good time to go back and watch that 2006 Black Christmas movie, which I literally had to apologize to several years ago when I saw the 2019 Black Christmas movie, because I absolutely trashed that film years ago when I saw it. But then when I saw 2019's Black Christmas, I was like, okay, maybe I was a little too harsh on you.
Yeah. I didn't know how bad it could get. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, I guess what I'm trying to express is that like this new Buffy thing is going to run into a wall pretty quick. And that's like, even now, like you try to
like almost 50. Now she has to be like close to 50, Sarah Michelle Gellar, right?
She is. She's 49. And so the thing is, the thing is that it's not like they have to really do anything. Like they did this to Luke Skywalker, and, you know, Mark Hamill's Mark Hamill. So they'll do the same thing. They'll Jake Skywalker Buffy. She won't be funny and cute anymore. She'll just be some begrudging old woman that had to deal with something rough that killed all of her friends, and now she's angry, and that'll be
exactly. It's up to the what do they call it? Like the new Slayer to remind her of what it is to be a hero or whatever. And
now the problem is that when they go to reboot this, they've got to acknowledge Michelle Trachtenberg's passing, and if they do decide to recast Dawn for any flashback scenes that they were, for whatever reason, they, that they have to now, like, we don't mean anything by this. We didn't choose this actress because she is better than her or whatever. We're not trying to send a message or anything. So again, like, now you're mired in something that has nothing to do with the show, and you got to play PR games with it. So yeah, it's over. You're better off,
or unless you just have like some suit in the boardroom going, "Give me another Russian Jew from New York, damn it!"
That's what they're doing.
But that's, the writing room and the Hollywood stuff and Warner Brothers and all that brings us into our next topic, which is
Warner Brothers.
The Wonder Woman writer from Monolith Productions, recently shut down, came out and said that she was going to come for anybody who made fun of her colleagues losing their jobs.
Okay. I was about to say that was a weird lead up there. I was like,
my emphasis
I know
that way
hard. I
because
didn't think they were that hard. Like you just lost your job yesterday.
And she says, if any of you, this is strange censorship, by the way. I don't know why she did this, but here you go. If any of you MFs say that a fucking word, now what does MF mean?
That it means motherfucker. I don't know why.
Mother friender. You mother frienders.
Why would she censor that and then say it? Okay, sure.
You mother fornicator.
But it's MFs, by the way. It's not. It's like a possessive MF. That's, by the way. So it's a motherfuckers, as in it belongs to these motherfuckers.
It belongs to, yeah.
She's a writer, by the way. She's a writer. So anyway, if you make fun of her, if she said she deserved, she was a writer. If you say that she deserves it, by the way, she's gonna come for you. Says right there, I will come for you.
It's internet tough guyism. Like,
nobody took it that way. Everybody posted woman masturbating gifs. That's what they all posted that gif of that woman. Remember that streamer that accidentally left herself on while she was masturbating? So everybody gifs of her playing guitar and stuff. So they just do that. So and they said, don't come. And they just kept having like the Kamala Harris gives don't come. That's what it was. That's what it was. And then Trump gives him, I'm gonna come, and don't come. It's all that. Nobody took it as a threat. Everyone was like, oh, I can't wait to find out what her OnlyFans address is and all that jazz,
Like, honest to goodness, this is
weird way to advertise your OnlyFans.
This is the same sort of like this is anime supervillain energy, right? And nobody takes this seriously like we all, if you're acting like a slogan on a t-shirt you could have found in Hot Topic in 2004, we all can. It's not hard. It's just really embarrassing. Like, this to me going, yeah, I'll come for you if you make fun of me. It kind of reminds me of, like, we all saw it. Mark Kern made this enormously embarrassing tweet where he's like, we're gamers, don't mess with. And I'm just like, oh my God. Like, did you pause your game to be here?
It's literally that t-shirt.
Yeah. And I'm just like,
literally that t-shirt in a post. Oh.
It's
and he's like 45 or something.
He's like 57. And it's like, come on, man. Like, you don't need to post
Elon
that.
Pope retweeted it. You saw Elon Pope retweeted it and
yes, I
endorsed
did.
it. And I was just like, oh, that made it even more cringy.
We all know that, like, regardless of your opinion on him, Elon's kind of not hip to humor. Like he's very much, he's King Redditor.
He's kind of autistic.
Not hip.
Yeah. So like, of course he's going to think that he literally, oh man. Whatever, what was it, CPAC where he was talking like this past weekend? He was wearing this shirt that was like, I had to start my quest over it. It was, I have to look it up because it was like a really embarrassing Cole's Gamer shirt. And I'm just like, what are you doing here, man? But that's, of course, Elon's going to retweet that. But this is that same energy, right? It's what are you realistically going to do, Monolith ex-writer? Nothing. You have no power here.
Mm-hmm.
But we've got to remind you, this is the same type of people that might not be the same that this person did. Let me spit it out. It might not be what this person
Spencer.
did. Yeah, right. One-on-one. This might not have been what this person did, but this person is part of a thought catalog that did enjoy mocking people over losing their jobs over non-compliance with vaccination mandates, and enjoyed mocking the truckers who were hunted down mercilessly by their own Canadian government
Up in
for
Canada,
honking their
yeah.
horns.
For not even honking their horns, for rightfully standing up for an egregious breach of not executive power, but government power.
Yep. Old Conor McGregor, right? That's who this is supposed to be.
You do
Yeah.
fucking nothing.
Who the fuck is that guy?
I don't know if I can show the video because it's not a TikTok, so I'm just going to describe it to you. But two guys were pretending to fight to be Conor McGregor on the street corner. They were like drunk and stuff.
Conor actually pulled up.
Yeah, right. But he pulled up. But the thing that everybody misses, the third guy walked up, saw immediately what they were doing, pretended to be Conor McGregor, then kept on walking. Like it's like it's an Irish thing that as soon as you take a certain stance, you're like, oh, that's Conor McGregor, and everybody just knows it just by sight,
that,
you know?
that reminds me, or the way you described it, it felt like in zombie movies, like when they rub stuff on them, where it's like an Irish guy's walking down the street. Oh, they're doing the McGregor thing. I don't want to get caught in that. I'm McGregor too. Okay, now I'm gonna keep walking.
I'm a real Irishman.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
And they're doing his like waving the arm thing and stuff, and it's like they're like, do you remember that all the Halo guys used to do the dance at the cosplay conventions where they'd wiggle their arms back and forth and prance up and down? It was kind of like that, but with like the Conor McGregor arm waving thing that he used to do, you know? And they were just doing that in a street corner, and Conor McGregor's driver stops and they walk over, they call him over and they're like, oh, it's Conor McGregor in the car. And I bet he was like, you'll do fucking nothing.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. If I was those guys and the window rolled down and it was Conor, I'd probably be like, well, this was a fun last night on Earth. Like,
there's I don't know where the video of it is. I have it over on my StreamYard and I can't find it on my computer. But someone edited a video of Conor McGregor like being the greatest threat on Earth. Like all these movie characters have to come together to stop him, and there's still not enough, you know?
It's just coked out Conor McGregor. Oh, this is where the origin of the meme started.
Oh boy.
Shut your fucking mouth, you'll do nothing. You'll do fucking nothing. Now Woody is a
cabbage
do
of a
nothing.
ting.
Get the fuck out of here.
You cabbage of a ting.
Out of here.
oh yeah. That's what happens in the UK and Ireland. As soon as you say more than like 3 words, it all just starts running together.
He has another line that's really good. Oh, this is the video right here. Oh my god, I love this. We'll get it. We'll share it over. Just a second. I gotta resize it so that way. So here you go. I love this. This used to be an intro to the streams I used to do over on my personal channel. Hopefully the boss won't mind. So
never speak about me ever in your life. Watch yourself around.
Oh yeah.
Never speak about me ever in your life. Watch yourself around me, because you'll be out here quick. Let me take my yeah, shut your
no selfies. Black guy.
Too slow and too stiff. You're stiff as a pause. Okay, it's not hard to find. That's cold. It's so cold. Yeah, hold on. Let me get my pose and my clothes and my shoe. Yeah, shut your mouth. Get out.
Here we go.
This part.
Dodging the bullet. This is so good.
Dude, the insane amount of time it took to edit this whole thing.
Dana White Centaur, it's the greatest.
Are you sure? I used to drag here back in high school.
When he's running.
It's exactly a quarter mile away from me. On green.
I love this. Bloody! The fat guy. Here it is. Here it comes. And it's over.
The best trailer of all time is that mummy one with no audio.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that was the 2-channel audio's off. Yeah, where he's just screaming and they're all heavy breathing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're breathing. Yeah, you can hear them breathing.
Yeah, believe it or not, I uncovered this secret cheat code with YouTube. So if you're making a YouTube video and you want extra clicks and interaction, talk shit about another language's spelling. That like earned us an extra like 15 comments from people that are like, "Oi, you got a problem with how the English spell things, do ya? Well, we're the ones who invented the fucking language, eh?" You know, and it's like
comment back, and we went, "We made it better."
Well, no, I say my comment is like, you know how the English are sticking U's where they don't belong, you know, Kalauer and favorite, you know. And that pissed off German people, that pissed off the French, that particularly pissed off the English. But just everybody and the brother came by like, you Americans, you speak the English's language. However they spell it is the correct way. I'm like, I first wanted to respond with, who invented the nuke? Then I was like, no, can't do that. Then I was like, who landed on the moon? No, I can't do that. And then finally I was like, who has the coolest president? And I was like, nah, I can't do that. So I decided, thanks for the click. And shut it down pretty quick.
You should
have like, good day, mate.
Yeah, you should have hit him with the like, who pays for most of your defense?
Mm-hmm. I hear your number one baby name is Muhammad, Then this is of course the all-time greatest Conor McGregor moment. Just destroyed him in just 5 words.
Right here, the hardest hitting 145 pound, the real hardest hitting 145er right here. This guy TKOs people. When I knock people out, they don't fucking move. They're not. Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that? You know damn well who I am. Who the fuck is that? Oh my god. I don't know. When I take that.
There's nothing he can say at that moment to recover from that. It was just
that is the only way I hear that phrase anymore. Whenever I think of like who the F is that guy, it's always that voice clip of Conor.
Exactly. Like, who the fuck is that guy? he just talked to him like he was just some fan who ran on stage.
Yeah. Black Pill Timon, meteor advocate, member of the channel, says English is a language of exceptions, not rules. And this is what I get into a debate with. I don't not as bounding into comics, but like on other platforms, I do get in debates about this because English, I believe, is the greatest language on earth. And it's not just because I speak it. It is also because it is the most versatile language there is. It is a contextual language, meaning you can slap Japanese, Spanish, German, any language word you like into the middle of an English sentence. And people will understand despite never hearing that word before in their lives. And that is the beauty and superiority of our language, is that it absolutely has no rules whatsoever. It is purely contextual. You can walk into a room and go, bing, bing, bong, bong, bing, bing, bong, bong. And people go, the Trump joke. And that's the beauty of the English language, where you go into another part of the world and you start bing, bing, bonging, and somebody's going to say, hey, my wife doesn't do that, mister.
Yeah.
You know? And that's how people do it. Like Mandarin in particular is another one where like it's not contextual. You literally, the tone of your voice determines whether you're making a threat or not.
Which is so great. Yeah, that one.
Whereas you can walk into a McDonald's and be like, give me all your cheeseburgers. Here's $500. I don't care if that's too much money. And they go, okay, we'll make 50 cheeseburgers for you, buddy.
Like,
thanks.
all right, man. Yeah, like, all right.
Whereas you do that in another language, you're like, we need a police to hear right now. This man's crazy. There's no barrier of like context. There's like, I have made a statement, the tone behind it, that's it. Whereas with English, you just make it up as you go along. You see this with the Japanese game shows. Like they have to quite literally be on the face. Like there was a mistranslation of a fat guy not understanding they weren't talking about food on a game show, and he started talking about his favorite food when they were talking about the Gaza. Because the word that he heard the word wrong, because in their language, the word that they used meant something about a cake. Right. And so he heard cake when they were talking about Gaza, and he was trying to, he just didn't click up.
They probably said something like that takes the cake or whatever. And then, or that equivalent. Yeah.
Something in the conversation was about cake, and that became the dominating factor to his response. And so in the middle of this conversation about Gaza, on a game show, by the way, this guy starts bringing up cake, and everyone's looking around like, Oh, he's the fat guy.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was like. No.
That's what happens is that like someone can misinterpret a word because it's pronounced wrong. Whereas in English, if you do that, people will try to interpret the context around it rather than asking you to reiterate yourself. They'll say, "Oh, you didn't say that right. I will just interpret that you said today weird, and I'm going to respond to you like that." Whereas this guy was like, "I heard cake."
Or like a lot of times we'll go like, did you mean, you said versatile? Did you mean versatile? And it's like, oh yeah, like we can get sort of what everybody
integral
means.
Or integral.
Integral, yeah.
Integral or integral.
Champions.
Right.
Ole,
You say tomato, I say tomato,
Nuclear.
Nuclear. Yeah.
Nuclear.
And Mission Impossible, a final reckoning cost of $400 million. What did they do? That's Captain America Brave New World 2 reshoot
money. What the heck?
What did they do? Did they actually go to space? Did they film
yeah,
something
like,
on the
that's
space
what
station?
Tom Cruise for the premiere, he's going to be like, "Yeah, hey everybody, sorry I couldn't make it. I'm on my Mars base. Beat ya, Elon." Like that's what we were doing for this movie. I'm Tom Cruise.
You see, Cider, it's not cheap to take a motorbike and then jump off of a 800-foot cliff onto a plane, onto a train. It's actually pretty expensive as far as stunts go. And they did things like crash trains in the bridges and crash one jet to another one, and there was other plane jumps. So there was a lot of very expensive stunts that had nothing to do with the actual plot of the movie whatsoever. So yeah, I can see how a budget will balloon to that much money.
The way you said that, it's like that made me think like Mission Impossible is now just the like action movie scene equivalent of Jackass, like Jackass movies where it's like
Mission Impossible.
Yeah,
no, Mission Impossible is basically how does Tom Cruise almost die this time?
how does he not? Yeah, like how does God not take him this time?
Yeah.
And to what Timon was talking about here, he says, "Yeah, English doesn't have several words that sound the same or written completely different." Sure. Well, and that's also true. But the other thing is that, like I said, context makes the difference. If you use the word cake in a conversation about Gaza, people are going to assume that you're like describing something about the destruction. Whereas in another language, cake means cake. It isn't contextual. When you use the word cake in another language, like in Japanese, for instance, they can make jokes about this, right? But context, the word always means that. That's why the Japanese language has so many words.
Our definition
of
things. Our definition of yellow cake means completely different definition of yellow cake when spoken in the context of the Middle East.
Right. Yeah. And like, for instance,
Here
here's
we mean
another
a
Japanese
cake made by an Asian person. There, they mean death to America.
Yeah.
Oh,
they mean it's exactly that's going on.
So cider, right, in Japan actually means juice. It doesn't have anything to do with apple. Anything to do with apple. When you say cider, you can get a lemon cider, you can get a strawberry cider. It's just a universal word for juice. It's another word for juice. It describes a particularly sweet, tangy, soury kind of juice. And that's it. It's not particular to apples. And that's one of the things that fascinates me about like language is that like Japan, the Oriental languages, I think that's okay to say. The Oriental languages.
I'll say it.
The ones that weren't influenced by the Dutch, the English, and eventually the Americans, the ones that kind of retained their Orientalness, if you will. And so their languages kind of like evolved out to take on some English, like how Japan uses emergency and the Romanized pronunciation of numbers, and they incorporate some English in.
Yeah.
China hasn't. China still uses their pronunciation for numbers and all the different things in the world. But what they have hundreds of words to describe different variations of things. So like wheat bread has a different word than white bread. Because it just has to be different in their language. Whereas we just simply add two words together. Wheat, which is a context of bread, is now to describe a bread that is not as produced as white bread. And but again, like their word for that is not to that context anymore. It is a word that describes it as an underproduced bread. And it's very, it's so strange how it gets down to like the very meticulous end of it, in order to like shortcut having to say wheat bread. It's just, it's very. It's so that's why English I feel is so superior, is that like we can say anything, and like provided everybody in the room is in the context of the sentence.
Yes,
it doesn't have to be anything. You just make noises at each other, and people are like, "Ah, I know that," you know.
So this is something I've been using this example a lot, and then watching the Conor McGregor video just sort of reminded me of it. But it's what you were talking about last week, a couple weeks ago, about, you know, memes, right? Like older generations don't get memes. Their memes were picture with words on it. But then like this generation, the Gen Z, if they want to talk about, oh, you know how the shopping cart has a bad wheel, they'll put that picture of like Arnold on it, right? Like that's sort of the same thing.
Job, yeah.
Everybody is in this context of that conversation. If the people who aren't going to get it, but then if you explain it to them, they probably will.
I'm very surprised that Google doesn't bring out that image immediately.
Well, was that supposed to be you talking from space? Or
Yo, what? Yeah, okay, good. I thought that was my headphones. Yeah, you.
I thought that was for a minute too. I thought that was my connection or something.
For a second, it sounded like Cider was talking through space and time.
he was
sounding like that.
Whoa!
Yes, it still sounds like that.
For once,
like
it's
you're having
not
a conversation of like the fourth dimension right now.
Let us know what Secret Wars is going to be like.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be bad.
Zeno heard it too, and he's meowing at it.
Zeno's got the animal senses, so that hurt. He knows it even more.
You sensed it, huh, Kitty?
The Honda Corridon.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what that is. Let's see. What is this?
I think Cider was trying to explain that to us until his mic decided to crap out.
Oh, snap. Nerdigans. Is this like a Honda crossover, Nerdigans? What is this?
Honda Pokemon?
Are
Honda
they
from
making a
Street
real
Fighter?
bike?
Oh my
The
god!
Codion or whatever they're called?
Oh my god! No way! They actually made the Pokemon! Oh my god!
Wow.
They made the Pokemon!
Honda Corridon. Wow. Oh, boo! Is this a teaser? They didn't show us the full thing? Boo!
They actually made the Pokemon! That is awesome!
That is... I hope that is a wide release thing and not just like we're doing it promotionally, because I still want a Pikachu VW bug. I don't even care.
I know someone, I remember this was years ago, when I was going to, I think it was when my parents were driving me to like elementary school or something, or middle school, that I saw someone that had the Pikachu Volkswagen. This was in the Bay Area.
You would. I remember as a kid, you would see one like around, especially because you and I were in California and particularly like big hubs of it. Because I think they raffled like 50 of them or something. So
yeah.
They're out there. But yeah, I had that reaction a lot, Nerdigans. But then it was always, why can't we get that one? Like, I want that one. And now that I'm older, I can't even get that one.
So is this fixed now?
Oh yeah, now you sound great.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
by the way,
this
something
is
that I've been seeing that I saw like randomly, considering where I'm at, I know my dad's neck of the woods, he would see it more, is I saw one of the Tesla tanks out here. I was like,
Tesla tanks?
You know, the armor, what looks like an armored vehicle. God, what's it called?
I mean Cybertruck?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I didn't think I would ever see one, considering I'm in like Central California.
Elon Musk is creating his own army. Everyone hide.
Yeah, right.
Technically, Biden did buy a bunch of armored Cybertrucks from him. So yeah, he is making his own army, but the government asked him to. So, you know.
Well,
anyway,
it's okay.
Yeah, right. Just the optimist ones will be doing like donuts on our corpses. That's all.
I'm not surprised with that, Nerdigans, because Central America Central California, still it's kind of purple. You've also got more rich people there. I'm more surprised
yeah,
that I see them here.
they're starting to like flee from.
They are starting to flee, but you've still got your holdouts. But like
I why because everyone keeps stealing their cars
because they're gonna burn it down. Yeah, but like I see them pretty like surprisingly often here in Phoenix, Arizona, and my first thought is just like, how did you afford that?
Yeah, I know.
It's Phoenix. We don't have the best place.
Well, so yeah, just real quick, I'll let Cider go. This whole partnership. You think Yu-Gi-Oh's like kicking themselves because like we literally had card games on motorcycles 20 years ago.
Card games on motorcycles.
Hold on, but 5D's anniversary is probably a big anniversary for 5D's is coming up. So
here's what I have
They wouldn't
to say.
do this, unfortunately.
Yeah, the threshold of buying it is the problem, and this is not, as you can see, on display on March 7th through the 9th. And so this is not for sale. This is going to be another like walking Gundam Yokohama thing where we built it to demonstrate the prowess of Honda. And there's a one of one because you can't ride this thing down the road. It's got those spikes in the middle of the wheel. It's got those Godzilla spikes in the middle of the wheel. You'll immediately bounce right off the road and break your neck and die. And, you know, Japan can't have that. They need all the sperm donors and healthy eggs they can get. So, and then
it's illegal for anybody under the age of like 18 to go outside right now. Or 70 now to go outside. You need to breed.
You just need to jerk off into jars all the time. All right, get going. But anyway,
that's what they're doing. They're all hooked up to Gacha, and they've just got like seed pumps.
Oh yeah, like the cow milkers on the end of the dicks.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, that's a whole hentai genre, I'm sure.
I know.
But anyway,
I tried to keep it as clean as I could.
Back at the children's franchise.
there's Monster Hunter and a Zoid collab that's coming up.
Yep. And that's
I'm sorry. How do you have car games on motorcycles so you don't have at least one scene where somebody drives their motorcycle into a building while dueling?
Because it's a children's show that was supposed to make that look cool, and they can't show like horrendous atrocities.
But my next car is like, oh god, boo!
Right. I summon you know, right into
like you don't see the impact. You just see like the silhouette from the flames from the other duelists. It's like, okay, I guess I win.
No, it's like in the Thunderbolts trailer when like Sentry points his hand at somebody and they just ash immediately. That's what it was.
Yeah, there are a few Cybertrucks involved in Ukraine-Russia war with machine guns mounted on their back trays. Yeah,
they're
trying
really?
to do the They're trying to do the Warthog. They're trying to do the Warthog from Halo.
I've seen really funny like this was earlier at the beginning of the war when Ukraine didn't have a lot of weapons, so they raided like their museums and they were mounting like old World War I turrets on the back of really beat up Toyota like trucks, and I was like, heck yeah, Warthog time, let's go.
There's a joke that the Toyota Hilux is banned in the USA because it's the #1 revolutionary vehicle in the world, and as soon as we got a hold of those, we would definitely overthrow the government. That's the last piece of the puzzle. It's the Toyota Hilux,
tiny mobile trucks. Yeah,
trucks.
No, you want to talk about a car that'll put you on the watch list? Have you ever seen the GX Rhino?
Shit,
no,
stupid layout. This thing goes through walls.
Yeah,
whoa!
You can specify it to be bulletproof. So
Spencer, I want you to just take a minute. This photo is to scale. So take a minute and think about how big a private jet is. Yeah, this is to scale.
What? Yeah. I thought that was definitely just like a
look at the door handle, higher ratio to confirm. Look at this. That's how big this thing is.
And like I said, you can specify
over your head as a 6 foot tall man to grab that handle. Yeah. That's almost 7 feet off the ground.
And you could specify it to be bulletproof, including the tires as well. So
yes, the tires, flat. Yep, run flat bulletproofs. Yep.
Yeah, so the standard for this Rhino costs about $400,000, but if you want to specialize it to basically you're the president of a very shady Eastern European country.
No. This is the car that every single like Nigerian or Congo like president gets the like second week they're in office, and you go, oh yeah, never mind, they weren't going to change anything.
So a neat fact about the Rhino is that it's based off of the all-terrain troop carrier truck that the U.S. built.
Oh, really?
combat in Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, we decided to do that in the middle of the Iraq War. We'll find out why soon, I'm sure.
I'm
But
sure.
I don't remember the name of the truck, but the Rhino's based off of that one. Now, what you need to know is that truck, the military version of it, was the one that The Rock drove through the wall in the bank heist scene of the Brazil Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy.
Wow.
Same thing,
Wow.
kind of at this point.
Wow. That's what we need. Final Fantasy and Fast and Furious.
You might as well be, because there's 12 of those too. So
That's
right?
what I'm saying.
That would be the best crossover
Got a bunch
possible
of spin-offs
right
on them. Hobbs and Shaw made it so there's superpowers now, so we might as well just lean into that.
At this point, if they don't do a Transformers Fast and Furious mashup, like, they're just leaving money on the table at this point.
I have a feeling that G.I. Joe is going to have Vin Diesel in it at least.
Think that
it's not a full-on.
If I remember correctly, I think that's dead. The Transformers G.I. Joe crossover, I think it's dead. So not going
That's
great
true.
over there.
You mean no one wanted to watch Puerto Ricans from Brooklyn be Transformers?
No, they really wanted stereotypically super smart black girls who work at a museum and get shafted because they're black. They wanted to follow that story more.
So Leslie says here the Ford Ranger or the F-150 could take the place of the Toyota Terra trucks, and I'm sorry, I am a Ford guy. My father, born and raised, almost all the vehicles I've owned have been in Ford. I've only owned one Chevy in my life, and it was a Eurosport, and I hated it.
Daily. I'm kidding.
I've been a Ford guy my whole life. I do want to own like a tiny Japanese truck. But that's it. I'm not like a big, not American car thing. But the Toyota Hilux is not the Toyota Tundra. It is not the Toyota Tacoma. The Toyota Hilux is well, the Japanese built a truck that was meant to conquer what was the landscape of the Panama Canal before it was a canal. It is a truck that is built to go through every terrain possible. They deliberately built it to do that. In Top Gear, it's the truck that's like chained up on the ramp in the background that they dropped from 60 feet in the air on its hood and then drove it off. You can't kill it. They drove it out into the ocean. They literally let the tide carry the thing out into the Thames. Yeah, and then they went and got it out. They hired a salvage company, brought it back out, dried it out, started it up right there on the damn beach, right there on the beach, drove it off. The only thing that stopped it was that they set off dynamite in the engine bay, and it dislocated the engine mount. Thing would still start, but the engine was rocking so hard it was going to break itself right out of it.
That's insane.
Yeah, the truck is quite literally invincible.
That's bonkers.
They took Jeremy and May took two of them to the North Pole with just the North Pole tires on them. They didn't have any other winter outfitting on them. They took them to the North Pole with just the big old inflatable winter tires on them and porta potties that
not
hooked
even
into the hitch
or
on the
anything,
back.
right? Just the bigger tires. Wow.
They had a rescue vehicle with them to pull them out, like that big something like this. It was some British version of this big ass thing, but it literally just them against just a regular old Hilux with a bunch of the winter mods to make sure it didn't sink in the snow.
Right.
And they made it no problem. They were drinking tea that they heated on the cigarette lighter. They plugged into the cigarette lighter at the North Pole. And it beat a dog sled team, by the way. They beat a dog sled team that had Richard Hammond on it.
What?
And that was just, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. And that's what I mean is that the Hilux is just, the 2025, and it's worth every damn penny. I promise you. And that's why you can't have it here. Is it's just like the most invincible machine you could ever build. And here in the USA, everything has to be Kodak disposable.
Yep.
Everything. Your house has to be Kodak disposable now. So it's just, you get a thing like the Rhino. Any one of us who got a hold of the Rhino, that'd be the thing that we got buried in. Like we could have that until we were like 90 years old as our primary driver. We'd never get another vehicle.
In this economy, I might just live in it.
Right, but big enough.
Yeah,
You could
exactly.
probably put a queen size mattress in the back of it.
Nobody's gonna Summer of Love my house if I live in that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. If you want to, drive through protesters, or if you just live in the city of like Memphis or something like that, this would probably be the best
Compton, Memphis.
Well, they're very good trucks. Don't get me wrong. F-150, I'm not too impressed with the latest one. I think it's gotten more like pavement pussy than it really should have. The Ram is still trying to be a ranching truck. It's still trying to be out there on the frontier. Like you could take this thing out in the woods and tear up some shit. But Ford's decided we're gonna go with Chevy and try to be cute. We're done trying to be a truck company.
Yeah.
We're just trying to be like the coolest thing that your mom rolls up to pick you up in. And it's really, really annoying. The truck should be for a singular purpose of hauling shit. It should not be moving your family around. The minute we started putting quad cabs on these fucking things, it was over with. You know, and I say it as a guy that owned a quad cab.
Right.
You know?
No, we two seats or 3 seats in the one cab in the front, big old bed in the back.
Right. That's a truck. And any other thing should be an SUV because that's the purpose of it. If you've got to have 4 people come with you, you need to have the sheltered covering. That's just how it works. Land Rover is another one that's really good. The Toyota Land Cruiser is one that was based off the Land Rover. They wanted to top it, and they did. So that one's another legendary one. Top Gear found one out in I want to say it was Thailand when they were out there. They found one in the jungle. It wouldn't start, but it was just out there, just hanging out. Like somebody swamped it and left it. You know, just sunk it in the mud, and they were like, "Oh, did we get it running?"
I don't know, Nerdigans, if this hits the same way for you being like a girl, but like the idea of coming across such a cool old truck in the middle of the woods as like a boy, like a 14-year-old boy, that is like the best thing. Like I'm excited thinking about if that happened to me. That's so cool.
We and that's the thing about the Rhino. Is it is a truck that's designed to take you out to that wilderness, to go out and get like up to the hubcaps in mud. You know, it's designed to go out and it's like the Yeti. Was it the Yeti? The hub? What was that thing with the big wheels that floated?
I remember that. I can't remember the name.
They call it the Yeti in GTA. That's what the name of it is.
Yeah, that's
I know it that way.
The what's it called? Like the
we're turning into a car show. We got to stop. We're turning into a car show. We got to move on to video games.
My favorite car is Knight Rider.
Right?
And we could be talking about like the death of studios and like the leaks that came out for Assassin's Creed.
We got that coming up right next. So what's that, Jacob? About
if you want to buy a car that makes you cosplay like you're living in Beirut, this be the best one to buy. It's only 400 grand. So go ahead.
Yep. If you're living in Dubai and you want to let everybody know your penis is the biggest, this is the truck.
If you want to go to the supermarket in Tehran, but you don't want to take too many chances, this is probably the vehicle you want to buy.
It's kind of the opposite, Timon. It's not a slow news day. It's sort of like overload. There's too much to talk about as usual by Wednesday, you know?
I got a little story we could talk about here because this is what the entire sports world is in shock right now over this latest announcement that the NBA, well, maybe they were involved with here, but Twitter has banned the notorious NBA troll account. NBA Central has been banned off of the site. They got completely nuked today. If you guys follow NBA or sports at all, they were known for basically just throwing out they were way funnier than the Babylon B. The guy was just trolling heavily. And because it got to a point where like real news organizations started picking up on their stories, thinking that it was real. Like Colin Cowherd basically did his show a couple of days ago, thinking that. So there was a story that they put out which is totally fake, that the Dallas Mavericks had banned fans from wearing Luka jerseys. After they got traded to LA, and Colin Cowherd went on his show and told the story, thought it was real. Turned out it wasn't. So now his whole thing's been banned off of social media for now. And then all the real authentic NBA Twitter accounts are all like, free Central, bring him back. And like Stephen A. Smith and all these other guys are all in on it right now. The one person who is celebrating this, however, is the Atlanta Hawks, who are still trash. Just want to throw that out there. But
of course they're Atlanta.
But yeah,
I haven't a clue what's going on here, but I'll act like I do.
No, that guy was on a legendary troll run here over the last several months, and it got so bad where it's like, okay, too many people are getting fooled now. We have to pull the plug on this
right?
It's not
again.
It's not his fault that people don't like look at the account that they're retweeting before running with the narrative. It's be like, oh, I saw a headline on Twitter, it must be real.
Oh wow!
Oh, Luca,
gotta be ready. That's gonna be the new. I saw it on 4chan. But so we do have those leaks that Nerdigans was talking about. If you're wondering how this all came to be, let's just preface how this happened. So earlier in the weekend, a bunch of news outlets started reporting that Assassin's Creed, the whole game, had gotten into the public hands. That someone had made a mistake. That a retailer somewhere had released this early, or some copies had been stuck out of the office, or something like that. And what ended up happening was a series of clips and screenshots came out of the full game. So the player that started posting about this was named Danny Steven. And Danny Steven has locked his Twitter account.
Yeah.
But he posted that he had played
Yeah.
for 11 hours and gave up
He's
some
on the
details
run.
about it. And one of those details was posting this picture that explained where his acquisition came from. And this quite literally was somebody who either worked at a warehouse or somewhere where they were storing these either from the original November release date or
Yes.
for the March release date, one or the other. But this is the pre-patch.
No, the February release date. Remember, because that's the one they wanted to hit first.
All right, the February release date or the March date, whatever was going to happen here. This is before the
Yeah, it was November 1st and February the 2nd. February was the second release date.
Right, that's right. And so now we're on to March, and hopefully they'll make it. But this Danny got a hold of this, and what he said is he picked it up at a gas station. So this guy who's in these pictures here, this fellow with these freaky thumbs, he rolled up to the gas station and told Danny, "I've got more copies.
Yeah.
If people want to buy them, I just want to meet outside of CCTVs." So wherever this guy is, he's either got a crate of these things, like a tub of them or whatever, or he's got access to the warehouse that has all of them. And he's just going to get rid of them. Either he's disgruntled at his boss or he's legitimately pissed off about what happened with Ubisoft. Maybe he's an investor, one of those low-end ones that bought 100 stocks.
Or maybe he's just a thief. He could be a criminal.
See, I was going to say, it's like, Jacob, you know what this is. This is the guy who's like, oh, I got this. I can make a quick extra $200 because screw my bosses. Like, the guy who's selling this probably doesn't even care what it is. He just knows that he can get easy cash for it.
You know, I'm always trying to find the silver lining. So you got me.
Of course.
I'm always trying to find the virtuous part in all of this. But you could be right. It's just some guy that was like, holy shit, these aren't for sale yet. Yeah, I'll just sell these over on Craigslist. Fuck it. But
Well, it's because it's what you and I were talking about last night when you told me about this, and we were talking about what it could mean is, and then you just brought it up. These discs, like, they have to have been made months ago. There's no way that they went, okay, we're going to hit this November date. Oh, scrap all those copies. We're going to print new copies. Oh, we're not going to make that February date. Scrap that. Just doesn't make sense logistically, monetarily. So like Cider and I realized what's on this disc is probably pre-feedback delay or whatever they want to call it these days.
Eternal Cote says, "I'm so glad Assassin's Creed Shadows is getting so much bad rap. Go woke, go broke." And well, that's not even that they're getting bad rap. It's just they've done it all to themselves. Like
They really have.
I have not made a video where I've had to concentrate on the sins of Ubisoft. They have been like sky written into the atmosphere where you just look up into the sky and you can just see everything they've done wrong. They're proud of some of it. Like they were that Torigate thing that they had their dumb little characters sitting on top of this broken Torigate. It's a symbol of the nuclear blast in Japan. This will really win them over, guys. This is really. Oh, we're going to put the game out on the 30th anniversary of the Japanese sarin gas attacks, the most violent domestic terrorist attack in Japanese history. By the way, the central figure to this game goes around killing Japanese men in probably the most comedic ways possible.
Yeah, no, everything about this game is of their own doing. Like, even on my perspective, where we've talked about this. Like, I disagree with the like, I don't personally find an issue with some things like the killing of the Japanese people or the temple. Like, but even I can't defend you because you guys, like, you know what, like, atmosphere you're going into. This was on you guys to think, and you guys just really didn't. So all I'm going to do over here is be like, you made your grave and you're sitting in it. The one I always think of, so hold on, Nerdigans, you can go next. I want to get this off my head before I forget it. But one of the things that always baffles me about this game is when they did the delay, and like the week after the delay, the creative director for the game gave an interview to, I think, like Eurogamer, and the guy at Eurogamer was like, "So what exactly are you guys doing with this delay? Like what is the point?" And the director was like, we have to do some, technical improvements, some graphical improvements, all that sort of stuff. But we're also double checking our work, right? Like we're double checking our Japanese culture, all that fun stuff. And I swear to you guys, you can see this in the interview. The next sentence he says is, for example, one of the things we learned during this review period is that Japanese people took their shoes off when they entered buildings. Did you know that? This is the kind of stuff that we really need to double check. So it's like, they didn't even put in the minimal amount of effort. They went to like
Hey guys, we watched the YouTube video for 5 minutes and found out some basic information about Japan.
It's wild.
I bet you guys didn't know that, did you?
That's literally the attitude he was going with. He's like, it's crazy. They take off their shoes. And I'm like, hey
guys, did you know they don't speak Korean in Japan? Did you know that?
Did you know they eat rice? Go ahead, Nerd again. Sorry. Yeah.
So based on the leaks that I saw,
let's get to the leaks.
Okay, so what I saw is what it looked like was that the now portion of the game, it sounds like that is like a typical classic Assassin's Creed game. It sounds on paper, it sounds good. But with the Yasuke portion, it sounds like what they did was, like Cider said a while ago, is that they took out the Japanese samurai character that they were going to put in there, and then just reworked it to put Yasuke in there. That's what it sounds like to me, based on what I read in those leaks. I don't know if you or Cider probably read the leaks, but I don't know if you've read them or not, Spencer.
Yeah, I haven't dug into them yet. So you two are my guide, but I know generally, of course, what's going on with Assassin's Creed.
Well, what we know from this guy's notes over on Reddit were that for 9 hours out of the game, Yasuke is completely out of the picture. You don't talk about him. You don't have any interaction with him whatsoever. You don't see him. You don't nothing. But you do begin the game as him arriving in Japan aboard a ship. Now, he didn't specify whether Yasuke was the captain of that ship, whether he was a slave aboard it or anything. Again, I can't show you the screenshots because I don't know what Ubisoft is running around trying to kill people's channels over, and we don't need a strike. So
we're still playing on the side of caution right now.
The video, however, has not been molested whatsoever by Ubisoft. So if you want to go take a look at all that, that's in the video toward the end of it. You can skip around and find it in the viewfinder. But what it is he's dressed like the people he's with. The two men he's with are clearly clergy, and he's wearing a similar status garb. Not that he's dressed as clergy, but he's dressed in a similar status of garb. He's not wearing anything that is ripped or torn or anything that's meant to make him look like he is indentured to them. He's presented as wearing kind of like what you'd expect
on their same level. Yeah.
Yeah. You'd expect a nobleman to wear or something of someone who has status. Yeah. He's wearing a plumed out sleeves and he's well up, he's well done. So what's not clear about it is what role he plays here. But after that sequence where you're introduced to the Sengoku era Japan as an outsider, bam, you go into Naoe's story. And from there, Yasuke disappears.
9 hours just gone out of the game?
9 hours, he's not even a shadow in shadows. He's completely gone.
Have the leaks said anything about how he comes back? Or is it just, have they not
he
gotten
made it
there
to
yet?
11 hours, and at 11 hours, Yasuke was reintroduced as an ally of Naoe's, but you hadn't gotten into Yasuke's motivation for joining Naoe or how he even became a samurai. It is presumably that the prologue in which all of the exposition happens is 2 hours long, full of motion cap cutscenes, so it's a movie. Then at the end of that, Nobunaga's dead. Yasuke's not a samurai when Nobunaga dies, by the way. It's unclear if he's even in the service of Nobunaga at this time. Then there's a time skip. And what this guy says is that time skip isn't in that 9 hours. That time skip happens, and then those 9 hours happen. So Yasuke's a samurai while Naoe's running around in these 9 hours you play after Nobunaga dies. Now, here's what's even more confusing, is that Naoe's motivation to become an assassin is because Nobunaga killed her father. And so, you killed my father, prepare to die. And it's so boring now. I get it that it's a stereotypical entrance for Assassin's Creed characters.
It is
Yeah,
very
it's
boring.
like, but as I said, Cider, it's like this is just like it sounds like on paper, it's typical Assassin's Creed stuff, and it just her
One
stuff
of the
sounds like fine on paper, but like the other stuff is just like a huge what the fuck.
And so, hey, it's me and HD says, does Yasuke arrive in Japan with a fake Japanese yen $20 bill? As far as I know, no, he doesn't.
Shogun Chauvin?
Ravul, I don't know. Are you talking about the video game itself? Because I didn't read any leaks that specified in the video game what his role was with the Jesuits. It
Yeah.
only showed him as being their equal. He wasn't standing behind them or any other thing. He was straight in line with them. So,
Cider and I talked about this yesterday. So in his real world history, yes, he was an indentured slave to Jesuit priests. In the initial leaks we got a little while back, the setup was apparently that Yasuke is on a slave ship. Something happens. He either got attacked or he got rushed up in a storm, and then he washes up on the in a temple in Japan where the assassins run it, and that's how he got brought in. To Cider's point, from what we've seen, we even asked each other this. Nobody's saying anything specific about what that ship is, so it's kind of in the air right now. It could probably go either way.
well, and again, it wasn't specified if he was the captain of it. We don't know what Yasuke's role is in this. So by the 11th hour, though, they have united. Yasuke is a samurai. Naoe is pursuing some greater evil than Nobunaga. And so that's because, like I said, at the end of the prologue, he's dead. So this is the thing, is that Nobunaga is dead. So her motivation for being a assassin gone before the prologue's over. So I don't know what you're doing for those 9 hours. The guy doesn't explain what the goals are within those 9 hours. Is someone playing Clash of Clans?
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, just my video game schizophrenia kicked in, I guess. I don't know. But
maybe somebody played it. Maybe I just didn't hear it. Who knows?
The ghosts in my house are playing Clash of Clans, outranking me. But,
yeah, they got bored of haunting, and now they're going mobile.
Right, time to level up on
They're
his
bringing
ass.
StarCraft back. Everyone run.
Right.
Korean ghosts in Maine?
Oh, geez. They're Chinese ones, but they're not intentionally.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. But to the Assassin's Creed leaks, though. So by the 11th hour, you had not gotten into any of the meat of the story. You hadn't even left the level 1 area of where the character is being introduced to all the stupid tutorial shit.
Right.
Still. So he had no idea what Yasuke's role was going forward. He did not see any option to play as Yasuke again by the 11th hour. So he was just around by the 11th hour.
Yeah.
And it feels like what I noticed in the gameplay footage of what he was playing is that Naoe is definitely supposed to be the main character. They are not trying. Remember they told us about this dual protagonist thing in the beginning?
Yeah.
And they're very excited. You could at random, you could switch between Yasuke. You could complete missions that were meant for Naoe as Yasuke and Yasuke as
because that was one of the things I remember specifically, because they were like, you could take on a Naoe mission as Yasuke. It'll be harder, but that's the challenge. That's what they were promoting it as.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. And that now it's not the case at all.
Nope.
That by the 11th hour, there was no way to play as Yasuke yet. You had him in once at the beginning during the prologue, and that was it. So it appears like they did take a lot of the feedback in and say okay, so yeah, we screwed up with the Black Samurai bit. We're kind of stuck with it now. We need to figure out how this works. So what I can appreciate about this narrative as I'm divining it, as I'm ciphering it from this information, they're not slapping him in as an established samurai. What the leaker said is that the Japanese people, despite bowing to him, they call him Black Man. They don't call him samurai. So and by the way, whenever Yasuke shows up, people start acting in fear. So the guy that was reporting on this kind of presented that like it was a racist thing, that they were being racist toward him. But I was like, the guy's in full war regalia. Okay, he's in full horned up war armor. Okay, guys walking around with ready to kill. So just imagine you're washing your car right? And like some soldier, like full to the tilt, ready to go, rifle, sidearm, big old
pack
backpack,
everything, got your helmet, like
the face paint, and he just shows up on your front lawn. He's not talking to you. And it's like, yeah, I'm going to be afraid too. What does he know that I don't know?
Right? Yeah. And then if he does talk to me, I'm going to be like, oh no. Oh, what did I do? Like, I'm done here.
And so like this guy, the reviewer presented it as like this racist reply. And it's like, no. I think they're just like, what does he know? He clearly danger is going to follow him.
And look, even if we want to give that, it's 1100s Japan. They don't see giant black guys like that. I would expect an average villager to go, whoa, what the heck? Like, oh, I don't know what human. Yes, I think. I don't know. Like,
someone shows up, they clutch their swords.
they shutter the restaurants.
I gotta wonder though if that was part of the original game before like everything was kind of overhauled to like try and enforce the Yasuke narrative.
It's a valid question. Like we don't know that. Yeah.
The only thing
it could go either way.
The only thing that's ever been exposed about this, and this is another insider thing. Hold on, I gotta clear my. This is another insider thing, and I take insider stuff with like the largest grain of salt possible.
Yeah.
And it's not because we don't have people reaching out to us that want to give information. No. It's simply because the only way to verify this is to dox these people, ask them to dox themselves. And then this defeated the purpose of being an insider. Then you're conducting an interview with a rogue employee that's going to lose their job as soon as this gets published. So it's like, it's just one of those things where you roll the dice if it's real or not. And what you do is you wait for the official word. So one of this insiders said, I believe it was in Endymion's video, was that the George Floyd incident colored, not to be like punny, but colored what Yasuke's role was in the story. They had originally wanted him to be part of it, but after the George Floyd thing, they like pedaled to the metal, having Yasuke become a prominent character in the story after George.
Of course they did.
And so but that's an insider. I can't say that's 100% true. But quite obviously, they have pulled back immensely from that. So, but that's
I mean, to your point about pulling back from Yasuke and reducing his role, the thing that stands out to me is that, like you said at the very beginning, they were like, "This is a dual protagonist game. You've got Yasuke. You're gonna have to like hang out with both of them to really experience everything you have in this world." 2 weeks ago, the creative director again came out and gave an interview, and they were like, so how, if a player doesn't switch, how much of the game are they going to miss out on? Like, when will they need to switch? Tell us about that. And he straight up went, they don't have to. You can beat the game as one character if you want. And I went, oh, that was not your original idea.
It's not Yasuke, though.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, not true.
You can beat the game as one character. It's now.
Yeah, there was an IGN journalist that said that played it, said they tried to play now on what was supposed to be one of Yasuke's levels, and it was hard as hell. You could tell it was hard as hell. That was supposed to be for Yasuke.
Well, and that's this is what Timon brings this up. He says the last good Assassin's Creed was Black Flag. The last AC last great AC was Brotherhood. Now, the leaker said that this game was as good as Black Flag. Now, I don't believe that at all.
Oh, that is a big like ask. That's hard.
That single line, though, is what has a conspiracy theory going around that this is Ubisoft that is soft releasing this in an attempt to pad the official like sales numbers, as saying, well, people saw the leaker and didn't buy the game. So that's why the sales numbers are so low. They took the bad reviews from the leaker.
There's a good
that guy's
the unfinished graphics, the unfinished things, the glitches. They took that as evidence of the game, because this is what this whole thing right here talks about. Okay, this is officially from Ubisoft,
because it's 1.0, and you can't, if you try to connect to the internet and play this game, guys, you will get banned. If it's Xbox Live, whatever, they'll see you shouldn't have that. Boom. So if the people who are playing it are disconnected from the internet, they're probably playing 1.0. So they are seeing all the bad stuff.
Right. And so that's what this right here is officially from Ubisoft. And this says, hello, everyone. We are aware players have accessed Assassin's Creed Shadows ahead of its official release. The development team is still working on patches to prepare the experience for launch, and any footage shared online does not represent the final quality of the game. Leaks are unfortunate and can diminish the excitement for players. We kindly ask you not to spoil the experience for others. Thank you to our community for already taking steps to protect everyone from spoilers. Stay in the shadows, avoid the spoilers. Keep an eye on our channel for more official surprises in the coming weeks. March 20 will be here soon. That feels like a threat.
Yeah, that kind of does feel like a threat. So before you get into whatever your commentary is, I just wanted to note, like, when I saw that statement earlier today and I read it, I went like, yeah, I know this is what you have to say, like when a thing leaks, but does anybody really care that much? Like, is this isn't Endgame or you know, Force Awakens, where people were really invested in what are we going to see? This is, I think everybody kind of just wants to see it burn. You could have been fine by just saying like, don't even say anything.
Well, they had to. They have a huge investment.
I know. Yeah, they that's what I mean. Like, they had to say it.
But this is overblown.
Nobody cared.
A simple, we are aware of the leaks. They don't officially represent the final product.
Yeah, there you go.
Fine. That would, this big long letter lends credence to that conspiracy theory is all I wanted to say. This big long letter.
No, I'm behind you now. Yeah.
That
Ubisoft. Because I've been hearing the same thing. People are just saying that this is Ubisoft just let this leak happen because they're doing a promo to try and soften the blow.
Yeah, well, and again, like, this is another scheme that corporations have done in the past where they have spoiled this stuff and then used it as a opportunity to explain to their investors, this is why we lost money, that these people got this out and we didn't have as good a return because the movie leaked.
So people saw it, or they got the bad impression. And
so what you have to ask yourself is that we have been doing this video game release thing for the better part of 30 years. All right. Some time before that, it was still a niche thing and it wasn't that huge release thing. But for 30 years now, there have been people lined up outside of video game stores or toy stores that sell video games to get new video games. All right. Like Jacob and I were watching that G4 thing last night where we were showing the PlayStation 2 release for these guys that were camping outside, and they'd been there for days. You know, they're camping outside these mall PlayStations. Not even like not the PlayStation stores, not even like the standalone Best Buys. You know, they're like in the mall.
Remember PlayStation stores? Remember they were
right? Yeah. And so
I remember the one in San Francisco. I used to go there like every once in a while.
That was literally the one they were at, Nerd Against. Like, I'm not even joking. That was literally the one they were at.
Metron in San Francisco.
Yeah, that was where ZDTV used to shoot in San Francisco.
Oh man. Oh, that was such fun times. The Metreon's gone to shit though.
Now you'll go to GameStop and you'll like it.
Well, that's just it. Is that people also camped out in front of GameStop? We had Halo players that like ran around the building in their little campsites for the.
Hey, I camped out for a 360, for a PSP, for a Wii. I did all that fun stuff.
Yeah, and so that's a whole culture. So you have to ask yourself, in all of that excitement, in all of that opportunity to make lots more money back when the dollar actually mattered something in the mid 2000s, how come no random asshole has ever done this before? And that's where people are like getting me, is the conspiracy of like, well, yeah, I mean, if there was a game to spoil, it would have been one of the Halo games. Somebody would have just walked out from the backside of GameStop and said, hey, you got $100, man. You get a Halo, copy of Halo. That $100 was a big deal back then.
Yeah.
In 2005, $100 went a hell of a lot further than $100 in 2025. So you just have to ask yourself, why didn't this happen before? And it's because they keep that shit under lock and key.
Well, like it has happened. We've seen this. This does happen. Like games do break their street date. Hey, I do actually infamously remember some copies of Halo 2 got out into the wild, and so
wow, okay,
it does happen. But I'm also, again, considering what this is, considering who we're dealing with, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Ubisoft, I'm genuinely not. I'm behind this. Like I can see them bringing attention to it and sort of riding the wave with it instead of really doing anything, because they'll just go, yeah, they'll be able to write it off at their next investors meeting or whatever. It wasn't our fault it did bad.
Well, not maybe write it off, but at least explain why Shadows without having
not
to say.
Not like actually write it off, but I mean, just be like, oh yeah, like that
you're
wasn't
right
us,
to a
blah,
degree.
blah, blah.
Well, you're right to a degree, because they can write it off as like, it's not DEI, it's that it leaked. It's not the fact that we pulled in all these psychopaths and that half the team is the first time they're making a video game.
It's
not that. It's not that. Anything to do with that. It has nothing to do with it. It's the fact that it leaked, and that's what killed it, guys. Is that all those people saw the unfinished game and they decided by the millions to not buy this, okay? Even though the videos around it got taken down, the guy closed his Twitter account the same day he posted this stuff, but millions of people saw it. It's over with. So I'll note too, I have not heard anybody who put up this stuff on their YouTube channel, on their videos, right? I don't know about live, but on their YouTube videos, no one has received a copyright notification from Ubisoft. That's another. Right.
See, you
and
know
so
what,
Smash
Timothy?
JT got a cease and desist about his little interview with the fake employee. That happened.
Right.
And didn't mention anything
So-
about the leak.
But see, yeah, exactly. That the Smash JT thing shows at the very least they're aware, like they're looking on the internet, they
They're
know what's
watching.
happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ubisoft is
And-
usually on top of this stuff, though. So, like, if the Reddit post is not taken down, if the Imgur stuff isn't taken down, yeah, Ubisoft, like, because the last time leaks came out with Ubisoft, like the art book, that shit was taken down. Like,
Oh,
fast.
right. That's right. Yeah, we just had that.
Yep.
Yeah, so like the fact that Ubisoft hasn't taken any of that down, that like furthers, like, kind of proves the theory that this is like Ubisoft like allowing this to be like free. This is like promotion from
Yep.
Ubisoft.
No,
And we
I'm
won't
actually
know-
now I'm in on it.
We won't know until, McDizzle, that guy. Yeah, there's a huge problem there. We'll do a whole story on it once there's actually like a legal thing, because I don't like to do this stuff until there's a legal thing.
When
Otherwise,
it's
it looks like we're just
speculative,
targeting a guy, you know? And that's the hard part about this, is that people interpret it. Like,
I
we
know.
got a senator up in Maine right now that got in trouble because she posted the sports results of a teen trans competitor who was a male last year, and now
Right.
a female competitor went from 5th to 1st because of that transition. She's in hot water because she didn't blur his face out. And they've censored her now. They won't let her vote because she won't take the post down.
What? That
Yeah.
doesn't seem
What is this, Saudi
legal.
Arabia? Oh, wait.
Yeah, no, like that's genuinely weird. What?
Well, it's part of the whole, like, Maine's going to the mat for trans men to kick
Oh,
women's
yeah.
asses in sports. So
No, of course. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I follow you and I see all your main poll stuff, which everybody should follow because Cider's killing it. But I didn't realize that they could do that. Like they could say you can't vote.
yeah, that's a censor. You can't when you censor. You
Right.
can do this right there in the federal one too. It's the purpose of it.
I
is,
didn't realize that's what it did. Honestly,
Yes.
that's on me then. I didn't realize
The
that took away your right to vote.
the purpose of it is that if you come out of line with the rules of that gathering, because they decide the rules every new Congress. So
Right.
if you defy those rules, you are then silenced the whole way around. So they have the ability to take that from them. And that, again, that's been around since the 1700s.
Oh, yeah.
It's originally part of how it works. Because if you got a jackass that's breaking the rules,
Right. Yeah.
you-
No.
you can't just fire him because the people elected him. What you can do is strip his right to represent them, and then he has to explain himself to them as to why he had that right taken away.
That's a good point.
And so, that's where she finds herself, is that it is in the laws that they're not allowed to target citizens. And, what they want to do, what the problem is that the Democrats up here, they do it all the time. And it's not a problem when they do it. But now that we've got this
course
big
not.
debate and the nation's looking at us, we've got to sit up straight and look pretty for the camera. And so that's why they've done this to her. Now all the Republicans in the state have come out and flared up about this, and it's just a mess. And that's why I bring it up, though, is that it's analogous to this, and that it's a
Oh, yeah.
completely engineered problem. It is. We are here because we are simply having this hissy fit over the orange man said, and that is where we're
Yeah.
at right now. Because I will promise you, not a single one of those athletes is going to exit the Minecraft server early or go through rapid disassembly. Okay, rapid unscheduled disassembly. Okay, that's not going to happen. Those kids are going to have a real bum of a time. They're going to be super sad for a few months, and then they're going to move on, because guess what's going to happen? These other splinter groups are going to put together the Special Olympics of trans
trans, yeah.
of trans competitors, the Trans Olympics. And that's what will take place, is a private enterprise will step forward to facilitate that degeneracy. But the government doesn't want to accept that, because then they don't get to make virtue points about it. They don't get to
Right.
parade around and say, we're helping all these people that want to chop off their genitals. We're helping all these people with body integrity, identity disorder get cashed in by the, what is it? Plastic surgery market. We're helping big pharma stay in
Big
business
plastic.
supplying
Yeah.
yeah. We're helping all these different people, these different mega corporations that you hated 10 years ago, profit off of these children. and we're going to be proud of it. And they're mad that the private industry will come in and take that over. And that's what this whole fight is about, is that they won't be able. You know who's going to win that fight. You know who's gonna, that's not even a joke, man. That's Ant versus Boot. And she knows it's like my favorite part about this. I don't mean to derail in the main politics.
No,
it's going to happen to you if you have a Democrat.
This is what our show is.
They're taking notes. Okay. They're using Maine as an example of how to fuck with Trump for the next 4 years. And so this is what it is that she knows it. So she's dug her heels in to draw out the legal process with him. In the meantime, she said, we're not going to pay the federal taxes we collect. We're going to apply that to all the taxes you're denying us. And that's that. So now the IRS that he wants to get rid of is like, he's like, wait. You guys hang around for a little bit.
I need you for one last job.
Yeah, we got one more time. And that's what he's done is he's turned every institution he can get his hands on related to education and health investigating Maine right now. So if you think Doge turned up some shit, you wait until your state has to go through this when your Democrat governor decides they're going to test Trump on the next stupid thing that they decide to test him on. And that'll be another executive order because we're playing the fun game of Joe Biden got to make 200 of these things. So rather than we're stopping doing this insane thing of making up laws on the fly, we're going to do it even harder. And I hate this game because it's like, okay, just get rid of the Congress.
Right.
Just get rid of them. Like, what's the point? If you're not going to stop this insanity of making up laws when you feel like it, then just get rid of the Congress. We're wasting time. I'm tired of it. It annoys the hell out of me that Trump's not like trusting the democratic process. Instead, he's just like, nope, today you're not allowed to whoever this jackass with security clearance at this law firm doesn't get security clearance anymore. Boo-hoo, fuck you. Bring me another. You know, it's 99 executive orders on the wall, 99 executive orders. You know, it's like, what the fuck? You know, take one down,
sign one more, put it on. No, sign one more, put it on the door. 100 executive orders.
Yeah, right. There you go. We got to turn that into a drinking song now.
Yes,
you know.
So
it's awful.
The Ubisoft, the leaks, the Assassin's Creed Shadows leaks, Reddit. Mm-hmm. And the imgers were taken down. So the images and the clips were taken down, and they've been taken down on Twitter as well. So Ubisoft is on top of it. The original post is still up though on Reddit, but the leaks are being posted in a Discord though. So the original leak.
Oh yeah, they'll never stop that.
This is so very much. So what this is a lot like what we got with the Pokemon leaks, where the leaker has moved to Discord and is posting everything in Discord.
Well, they haven't switched YouTube.
Got to avoid the eye. Yeah, that's the thing that weirds me, outsider.
It's not that hard, so I can't imagine they've fucked with Twitter and fucked with Imgur and then decided we're the ones that get out alive.
Never mind. YouTube, the one that actually monetizes like these leaks and directly pays out the creators. No, that one's fine. We can leave that.
Yeah, we're gonna leave that one up.
Discord, like that's the thing that people don't understand, and I deal with this when people are like talking about like manga leaks or anime leaks.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, we got them off Twitter, we won, we defeated. It's like, no, they just went elsewhere. They're on Reddit, they're on Discord. Like, you're not gonna stop piracy. It's just
I mean, that's the thing. Once something hits the internet, it's not going away. Somebody somewhere will have saved it. Even if it's the most irrelevant thing you think you could ever think of. Like, sometimes, like for example, sometimes when I publish an article, I forget to put it in a category, right? Like movie news or comic book news. So it goes uncategorized. That's an error. So then I go in and I fix it. Oh, no big deal. Like not really a big deal. It just puts it in the right category. Somebody out there has probably got some weird auto script that saved that initial version of the page. You know what I mean? Don't put something out there. I know this is Arthur 1998 end of episode advice, but like, don't put anything out there on the internet that you may one day want taken down.
Yeah. I mean, I guess millennials kind of got this because we grew up on the internet and it was still like stranger danger. We were still explained to us as like, there will be a man who shows up in your inbox with a van with like a pop-up ad full of puppies and candy. You know, don't get in the pop-up ad, you know?
But now you've got like 13-year-olds going, hey, here's my every like mental illness I suffer from. Here's my school schedule. Here's my real name.
Here's my tier list of waifus.
Yeah, exactly. You know? And I'm just like, what are we doing? Like, okay.
Yeah, you know, you look at yourself, you look at this Pokemon motorcycle coming out and you go, oh, well, that's because everybody in the Pokemon's over 30 now, not 12.
Yep.
I see. That's
yeah,
why.
1,000%. That's for us.
Now, Jacob, you've been sharing this for quite a while. Oh, this damn layout. You've been sharing this.
I figure this is
a
good way to close us out here tonight.
Oh, I thought this was Minesweeper.
No, so this is, imagine you are going to a movie, right? You're getting to a screening that is relatively open. However, there is one person who has bought a ticket to this movie before you, and this is exactly where this little red dot here is directly where he has chosen his seat. Now, out of all the options that you have in the movie theater, and he's the only person there, which seat are you picking?
The one directly in front of him.
Oh, so we got a couple answers. Right next to him or right in front of him? Which one do we pick going with here?
Nerdigans, be our tiebreaker. No, she might be doing cat stuff. Oh no, she's here. Good.
No, I'm here. Cat is elsewhere. I would probably like, for me when I go to the movies, I like staying in the back personally. I like the back and center because I like, especially when there's no one else there, because it's like you're like the king of the theater.
Yeah, I know that.
So
feeling.
would you pick the one that's directly behind him?
Well, not directly, but like in the very back at center, yeah, because then you get to be.
I was about to say everyone just has like one seat like away from him, like one directly in front, one directly behind, and one next to him.
Sup, man? And we all still talk to each other, like we come as a group, but we all just sit one seat apart with him in the middle.
I just think to myself, like, how uncomfortable would it be if you get to the seat like directly next to him and you sit down for the entirety of the movie, you don't even acknowledge him, you don't even like look his way at all.
Yeah, don't even give him like that friendly like, oh hey, like the nod we all know that we give, right? Just sit down, watch the movie, leave.
like he's not even there.
Now, I have to ask though, if there's only one seat taken, this implies that no one else is going to this movie. So it would just be the two of you alone in that movie theater, not acknowledging each other, not talking to each other.
Lowered expectations.
Right. And it's like you should at least shake hands when you leave. Like, good job, man. Good game. You know, like good game, man.
You're just driven by pure pettiness at this point. Like nothing else.
You know, like I'm the guy in front of him, and I just keep looking back. Like, can you believe this? You know,
talking the whole way in.
Right? Yeah. You know, I'm the guy raising my hand like, fuck you. Fuck you. You don't like Trump.
So there's three ways you can do this, and all of them are great. You can be the guy sitting in front of him who's like always like looking back, like, you see this, or talking throughout the entirety of the whole
She doesn't
movie.
even have an ass.
Yes. You can be the guy sitting directly next to him who does not acknowledge him at any point of the movie at all, doesn't even look his way. Or you can be the person behind him who looks at nothing but that guy throughout the entirety of the film, doesn't even watch the movie.
You're just drilling holes into the back of his head.
And even
every time he turns around, you're staring directly at him.
That, and then like it's just humans, right? He'd be sitting there and be like, I feel like somebody's looking at me, like I feel it, and then turn around, direct bead, like right on him, like, hey.
Like right there.
Are you enjoying Captain America?
Yeah, and that see, this is choose your own adventure of going to the movie theater, right? I tell people every, like, I meet depressed people a lot because it's Maine, and so I tell them, like, every day can be an adventure. Every day can be an adventure. You can go out into the world and you can just be like, well, you know, whatever, I got cut off in traffic, or you can choose to say, I chose not to murder that man today. and now your day is a hell of a lot more exciting now, isn't it? Then somebody goes like, I got cut off in traffic, and you just say, honey, I decided not to murder someone today, and all of a sudden everyone's like, tell me more.
And I turned around.
I spared a life today.
You're right.
I know mercy.
I decided not to light up today.
Yeah,
right.
Oh, shoot up.
I decided not to completely crash out earlier today.
Right, exactly. So rather than saying my coupon got rejected at the grocery store, you say I decided not to crash out and strangle a cash register worker today. You know, and again, all of a sudden your day's a hell of a lot more exciting now, isn't it? And that's what I tell people is that, like, if you're depressed, just start thinking of yourself as the main character. Who's going to stop you? And if you're just like an action hero and you're like, you know what? I'm not going to do the explosions and walk away looking at it thing. I'm just going to walk away. You get this small victory because I could use these kung fu hands and turn you into baby food. You know,
you can give yourself the Superman mentality, right? Like, oh, I would do something, but I would brutalize you. So you got lucky this time, champ.
I'm the one with the upper hand here. I'm the bigger man, you know, that kind of thing. And that's again, so that's what I tell people. So here's another chapter of that. You go to the movie theater, you have the option of either ruining someone's day, making them incredibly uncomfortable, or making a friend. You've got a lot of options here.
Look, dating is hard nowadays. You could find the love of your life. There could be a woman who said,
Spencer, there is no woman going to a movie theater alone. That is not
just
happening.
walk over there. Just walk over there and be like, this movie can either be a comedy or a horror movie. You decide.
Your call. Your call.
That's when he looks back at you. That's when he looks back at you during the trailers. Like he's gonna say something to you friendly, and you're like, no. This could be a comedy or a tragedy. It's up to you. You know. And that, or you could do that thing from the commercial of the guy knocking all the food out of people's hands when they're trying to get it into the car. No. Every time he looks at you, you go, no.
Like, right, just have my hand like ready for when he turns around. I just hold it there all movie, and when he turns around, no.
I say all of this to say that, you know, AMC posted a quarter loss of $135 million, and pretty sure everything that we suggested tonight will not help that scenario whatsoever. Because now people are going to be terrified of going into movie
alone. They're like, I need two friends to go with me, so that way we can form a line, and these weirdos won't feel incentivized to interact with us.
Women self-defense class signups have skyrocketed through the roof since movie theaters started being empty.
Right? Like I said, there's no woman going to the movie theater alone.
Here's the plot twist. You're sitting behind them and you guys are locking eyes, and all of a sudden a Korean family of 8 just walks into your row. Be like, oh, come on, really?
You have this super villain plan, right? You're going to ruin this guy's whole experience, and then this family of like 14 Korean people walk in.
And now you guys have to team up to conspire against them.
It is the Korean ordeal all over again in that movie theater.
Oh, man.
We're gonna have the 48th parallel in the middle of this fucking movie theater. But we do have one last topic to close this out with, and Sakura Amida brought this to my attention. Apparently, there's going to be a merger between Paramount and Warner Brother Discovery, and so. What Sakura Amida asks is this going to help or hurt the Power Rangers reboot movie? And I'm not going to try and be funny and say nothing will help it. What I have to say about this is that
so I'm going to be dramatic and say nothing is going to help it.
Well, I would say it dramatically and looking at the camera like this. But the reality of it is that Warner Brothers Discovery is in a lot of trouble right now. They are so many billions of dollars into permanent debt. This isn't debt that you're going to be able just to pay off. This is huge studio debt that they have.
This is debt that goes back quite literally to the Ted Turner days, and they still have not paid it off.
Right, and now they're going to be launching the superhero universe. It already sounds like a flat tire. You know, you've got this DC universe. It's already Superman's going to be funny and irreverent and timeless. No, it's not. I can promise you, it's not. And this is what Warner Brothers Discovery has to offer Paramount. So what we're going to end up with is Paramount most likely acting as sort of like a plankton inside of SpongeBob's head, operating Warner Brothers through like bankruptcy court, you know? And so you're going to see the Power Rangers movie probably disappear. I have a feeling it's going to hurt it in the sense that like this merger is going to take precedent because they have this superhero universe already in motion. So getting another one going is not going to be what the studio wants to deal with on top of Warner Brothers debt that they're buying. And
have you considered having Lord Zed being played by a black woman?
Well, you know, it worked for Jesus apparently in that Jesus Christ Superstar thing.
Mhm.
So can work on the other end of like literal space Satan. So
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I mean, if you have a black woman play Goldar, then you're going to be accused of being a racist.
Right.
Oh, let's make the giant flying monkey a black woman. I see how this.
No,
is
you
going.
can have a black woman play squat. They all have the same body shape. No,
That fat rapper lady that barely fits in the car. She's perfect for it.
Isn't it
Oh my
crazy?
God.
Like, at first I was gonna be
paint her
like,
blue.
really, Cider Lizzo? Have you not seen her lately? But then you went for the other one, and I'm like, oh my, she usurped Lizzo as the stereotypical fat joke.
Yeah, like that's a superpower. Like that
It
that
really
one right
is.
there. That should go in the Guinness World Book of Records, like fatter than Lizzo. That's what it is, you know, special category, fatter than Lizzo. But
There's straight up a video where that rapper chick like was at a show or something, and she tried twerking, and her legs just like she stands up, twerks for like a second, and her legs just give out because
it's
she's too big.
collapse.
It's
yeah, the
it's so
knees
funny.
are like,
The knees are like
metal noise.
They're like, we haven't done anything for 30 years, and now you want us to dance? I don't think so.
Well, you got to remember too, like to twerk that thing, you're like lifting a mini fridge.
That,
each
yeah,
time
so
you know.
It's like going to Arnold and being like, "Can you bench like 400 pounds again right now?"
There you go. That's the meme. You have Arnold like trying to hold up her ass, right? And then their legs give out.
Like, have you ever seen videos in the Middle East where they scare goats? Like, think of that, but it's a really, really big goat.
He's like really big goat, bigger than goat.
But this is what Sakura Meat asked. Now, do you guys have any thoughts about it? I think it's going to kill the Power Rangers movie.
So yeah, no, I'm of the opinion that none of this merger stuff works because it's the thing that I always bring up to Jacob, right? That I always laugh about when we talk about movie studios and all that stuff. Remember, what Warner Brothers keeps doing, this will be like their fourth merger in like 10 years. And what they keep doing is they merge and then they throw all of their like debt collecting assets into like a smaller company that they still own. And it's this really weird thing where they're not really addressing it. They're just sort of fudging the books, right? Like they're sweeping all of their dirty clothes under their rug. It's like, really
guys,
weird.
We've been in debt since we were playing Atlanta Braves games on TBS. Is there any future plan where we're going to actually address the elephant in the room at any point?
And they say MLB subscription service.
Starts out free.
Let's do something insanely more expensive that's going to cause us to go into even further debt.
I mean, that sounds like something they do.
Well, and
yeah,
you know, that's just kind of where I say that it'll break the bank as far as what they want to do with Power Rangers, because there's no way they're going to make a one-off movie. There's no studio that thinks like that anymore, especially when it comes to children's franchises.
And when it comes to IP, yeah.
Right. And so that's they're not gonna plan one movie, and that means they want to invest in a franchise, and there's just not the willpower to do that when you've already got the DCU stumbling on itself before technically the first movie of it comes out. So and again, we just got news confirmed for real that Pattinson is not going to be Batman. So anybody that had any idea about the Batman thing mattering, congratulations, that's over with.
I also kind of to bring it all full circle, I feel like if you did think that Pattinson was going to be the DCU Batman, you played yourself. Like I genuinely don't know how I didn't see that happening at all.
Well, the only thing you point to is that he's the current Batman. That's it.
That is true.
Other
yeah.
Batman. That's all people were going off of. Yeah, Patman. You have a friend named Patrick that'll love that. So, but that's what I'm saying about it, Sakura Mita, is that it's not gonna help it. It's probably gonna kill it. So.
Honestly, at this point, I feel it's not Power Rangers isn't even on life support anymore. This is he's technically blinking, but that's what the body does, 5 hours after it's passed.
That noise you heard was the bowels evacuating.
Right, exactly. Like, I know they want that movie to happen, but between where the franchise is right now, between the fact that Hasbro said, we'll license all of our stuff, but if you're going to make a movie or a show or whatever, you're paying for it all. We're not giving you any money anymore. And just the general fact that nobody cares about MMPR. Cider and I, we see this all the time on Twitter where they'll announce a new MMPR thing and there's like one or two weirdos who are super diehard about it, but everybody else goes, anything else, please, anything else? Like, I'll take Ninja Rangers, I'll take Alien Rangers, man. Like, anything else at this point.
It's kind of like how A24 is doing a horror movie of Barney. It's like, why? We can't get something else.
No, you get your ironic slop.
And that's, when I was talking about the bowels evacuating there, I reminded myself of the Venture Brothers, the first episode, where Race Bandon dies in a parachuting accident. And the boys are like, oh, he's alive. And Brock's like, no, that's the sound of the bowels evacuating. He's very dead.
Oh, he's that's such a good
that's the sound of the bowels evacuating. He's very dead. And it just those early Venture Brothers episodes were just completely unhinged.
They were.
I miss it so much.
I really do too. I feel like I got to do a rewatch now. Lightning in a bottle.
We'll have to jump into the Discord and do like a season 1 and 2 watch.
I'm so
watch
in.
Party. But that is the end of 01. We didn't get to the Jason Schreier thing, but I'll just make a video about it tomorrow. So no big deal. It's just the gaming journalism industry collapsing on itself. And apparently there's only 12 gaming journalists in all the world that have full-time jobs now.
Yeah, which is nuts.
Amazing. To think that somebody managing something like Kotaku has a part-time job as a sandwich artist.
It kind of makes me like, it feels like it explains so much, because now instead of going like, oh, you actually believe this? I just go like, oh, rent's due. Like, that's why you're making this post.
Yeah. You guys centrilled.
Top 5 Doctor Dooms that could show up in the MCU. It's like, oh, kill me. So that's the end of it. So without further ado, Miss Nerdigans, where do we find you after the show?
Well, when my cat's not being fussy, you can find me on Nerdigans.
So never.
Find me on Nerdigans Inc. on YouTube, where we cover anime and manga every day. And after this, we will be covering the amazing Digital Circus manga. I know I gotta catch up on it. I got like 3 chapters of it.
That's the thing with like the weird jester thing, right?
Yeah, it's the I think it started out on YouTube originally, but yeah. It's got.
You'll have to tell me. I just see it around.
Yeah, I think it started out on YouTube, and it's now got a Netflix show, and it's got a manga adaptation.
Jeez.
But yeah, it's actually I've never watched
good.
the digital shorts or anything like that. I'm just reading the manga adaptation. It's pretty good. And then on patreon.com/packergirl, we are covering the 100 Girlfriends and Dragon Ball Daima in both the sub and the dub. The dub, it's fun covering the dub, because it's like, yay, it's Dragon Ball because I grew up with the dub. But at the same time, it's like no.
But I've heard the better one already.
Yeah, it's that, but it's not only that, but it's like, no, the Dragon Ball dub used to be better than this.
I'm sure. I haven't watched it yet. That's why I haven't done the dub yet. So, I want to, but I'll take your word for it. Like, I genuinely believe that.
It's just a few members of like the main cast that are just sounding a little off, and then there's Hybis, and it's like, no, that's not Hybis.
What are we
Hybis
doing
is
here?
horrible.
Yeah.
Like, they ruined like one of the best characters. I fucking hate the dub for that. But anyways, you can find me on Twitter, where I am causing all sorts of shenanigans. I got a lot of Dragon Ball articles to write. Spencer and I got to figure out how we're going to be dividing up that podcast. There's lot.
There's so much.
There's so much. There's like at least, Sire was saying that there's at least like 3 articles that we could probably do from that.
Yeah, so we'll look through it. You and I will pick through it
and figure it out. There's also the I gotta send this to you too. There's also this, and we didn't get to cover it here tonight. There's a lawsuit over Kuromi. For
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we gotta cover that.
I think we should. Yeah.
Yeah. And also there's like the Fire Force trailer and Devil May Cry trailers that dropped. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we got to be covering. But like the main thing I think we need to focus on is getting the Dragon Ball stuff done, because that's just especially with the anniversary of Toriyama's death. I like
and everything. Yeah, no, it's a good move, and it's super interesting.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll have that done by March 1st. So
All right.
Oh, that I was gonna say, like, why are you putting it off so like far in the future? And I'm like, oh, that's just like a day from now.
Yep.
a few days from now, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And Jacob, where do we find you when the show's over?
You can find me over at Society Reviews. I got last night we talked about the rise and fall of the real G4, the one from the early 2000s, Tech TV, and so much potential Comcast had, and they threw it away, and they spent a quarter of $300 million to mess up everything almost immediately. So go back to the whole history of that whole thing. We did a very interesting show last night. This coming Sunday, we're going to be completing my 5-week series on the Satanic Panic with the conclusion about why did we label it Satanic Panic in the first place? What were they trying to hide from you? We're going to get a pretty big conclusion with a revelation point there on Sunday. I will not be streaming the Oscars this weekend because, screw them. I'm not doing
Like, who
that.
cares? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's old Amelia Perez one.
Yeah,
Ooh,
dang it. I was
yeah.
going to start going from man to woman, from woman to man.
Yeah, it's like I got a 10-pack of Corona in the refrigerator. If I was gonna do that, I'd probably eat at least 8 of them at that point. But yeah, then I got some reviews coming up too as well. I'm gonna be working on those tomorrow once I have some time to actually get that all together. So yeah, that's what I'll be doing here for the next couple days. So check it out.
All right. And Spencer, when the show's over, where do we find you?
Yeah, guys, as always, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. It's always a blast. I know that we we had some tangents, but I think you don't get that anywhere else. And it's more that, like, what else are we going to say about Captain America, right? Trash movie. But yeah, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. Always a blast. Always look forward to hanging out with you guys on Wednesday nights. Check out boundingintocomics.com every day where we got articles coming up. As always, as soon as we're out of here, I'll be putting out all the stuff I have for today. Check that out. Check out everybody here. You can find me in the chats. You can find me harassing them somewhere. And then, yeah, come back next week and hang out with us again.
All right, then. And as soon as I click the right button, there we go. And as always, guys, Bounding Into Comics, the YouTube channel, is cranking out videos. We talked about the Assassin's Creed leaks as well as Mecha Break. And Mecha Break briefly dethroned Marvel Rivals.
Yeah.
And with that, we will
Dicks
end the
dig
stream.
giant robots.
Well, and guys dig giant butts. What do you know? And so there we go. And with that, we'll end the stream with
My mind palace.